Good to go.
Okay, so welcome to the...
Sorry.
It's okay. It's hard sometimes to actually get a word in sometimes, even though I'm running. So, welcome to session number 80.
What?
You're just feeling guilty.
The music is still going. As far as I'm here.
So, welcome to session number 80. And we are having the characters just reach level 9. And we are doing the Wrath of the Immortals storyline using the Mystara setting. So, very old setting. Probably considered as old as Greyhawk.
Yeah, I recall both being about the same time.
Greyhawk was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Mystara was Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So that's how old it is.
Yeah.
So original basic rules was set in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So that's the distinction a lot of people are surprised at. So online we have Jeremy, who's going to introduce his character.
Good evening all. Yes, I'm Jeremy. I'm playing Atruaghin, who was previously known as Peredir until he had an unfortunate run-in or introduction with a fey dragon.
He gave his name to the dragon.
But yes,
Did he
he's
give his name?
Yes.
He doesn't really remember what happened to his name. So does he know he
I
gave
remember
his name?
exactly what happened. The dragon said, "Can I have your name, please?" And he said, "Yes."
Do we remember though? Because I think the
do.
stipulation was that his name was never his name.
But
It was
the
always
event
the
is still there.
dragon's.
You still remember the dragon saying that?
No, because
Oh,
that's
okay.
the-
Right.
because
And
that's
him
the thing.
saying yes.
Okay.
No, that's the thing. In that exchange, the name itself was not mentioned.
Okay.
"Can I have your name, please?" "Yes." The dragon's name is now Peredir,
Yeah.
Yes.
and always has been,
Yes. So how do we know he gave his name?
because we heard the exchange.
Okay.
And
alright.
being Fae, they're very good at taking literally what they say.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I
He
get
really
this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But that's my point is, we'd heard the exchange, and the dragon's name is now Peredir. So we actually know what his name used to be. We also know the dragon has always been that name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we do
At
have
this
time shifts
point-
as well.
I'm happy to let it go, and I thoroughly regret mentioning it in the first place.
Yeah, well,
Job done.
Either way, yes.
Okay, look, the Fae have been...
He's currently known as Atruaghin.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been christened by Atruaghin himself as
Yes.
the immortal of his clan,
Yes.
of whom, whilst he used to be a watchman or a policeman, Atruaghin has, for some reason, he's still trying to figure out and still trying to live up to, decided that he was to become the shaman of all the clans, and has also been
Tasked with being a chieftain of a new
that's right,
tribe.
he's become the chieftain of a new tribe of the Atruaghins, the Dragon Clans.
Because each of the tribes is named after
Dragon tribe, I should say, part of the turtle clan.
creature type.
Closely sick, isn't she?
Yes. Also online we have Kesley, making sure I actually pronounce it correctly after a discussion of how badly people pronounce things.
Yeah, so I play Koopa Lani Al-Kai. She goes by Lani for the sake of making things easier, but shall we go through her mini titles?
Yes, please.
Yes, we shall.
I think it's appropriate.
It's a music.
So we have some actual titles and some self-imposed titles. So we have Lani the Weapons Master, Lani the Wanderer, Lani the Undying, Lani the Bane of Fire Giants, the Provisioner Pixies,
I was waiting for
the
that one.
the Fey Human, and official title Koopa Lani Al-Kai of Clan Blue Elf. So
Yes. Picked up a few
There.
titles along the way.
yes, so she's one. She former sailor, kind of Pacific Islander type of human, here for a good time, not for a long time, ready to lay down her life for all of her party members, but she's also undying, so there you
She's
go.
smiling.
Although as a player, I will put the caveat: she's undying as long as Hlul's standing behind her.
Exactly.
Well, you have bolstered a lot of people.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the warlock behind the warrior that makes the warrior.
Yes, in this case.
Undying.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would say it's the magic finger.
Yes.
No, let's not go there.
At least it's better than the magic hug.
No,
I
hugs
use
are
my
okay.
magic finger and she gets back up. Yeah.
Okay, at the table we have Ariadna.
No, it's not Ariadna, it's Calgrix, the white dragon with the jazz wings. Also, the
She's
best
fantastic.
friends and pen pal of Herman, the avatar of the Queen of Darkness. And currently newly acquainted with this party after her friend, the Trillerist Duke and Cover, stayed behind to lend his alchemical potions and bombs towards the war between the elves and Moorcroft.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everything. Oh,
That is
and
everything.
accompanying me is Grindelwaffle Brewmeister, who is my personal coffee supplier. And I've changed the name of my I got a little plant that sits on my horns. His name's Chow Chow.
I was having a look at the follow rules and they look enticing.
Followers can be quite powerful.
Oh yeah.
And also quite annoying at times.
That's fine.
Just ask Em about an axe beak sometime.
Oh, we've heard about the XP.
Yeah, everyone's heard about the axe beak. The axe beak is infamous now.
Well, she trained it to be a ambush predator, and it attacks people while they're using the lavatory,
Because it's relatively intelligent, especially for an XP.
and it likes to
And it's
take off
worked
their leg.
Yeah, and it's worked out that if they're on the loo, they're actually really easy to get to.
Okay, so next person at the table is Jeff.
Okay, I haven't actually got that far. I've got a name.
Yeah, well, that's enough.
You've got a name. You have a cultural identity.
He's narrating by culture, but he looks very Phaeton.
He looks more squat and bulky than Life Sailor.
He has a lot of knives. Most of
Cue
it.
scene where you're asked to leave your weapons at the door, and then everything
10 minutes later.
comes out
If you-
over a 15-minute
If you've
period.
seen Stargate Atlantis,
Well-
there's a scene where they're trapped and they ask for a knife. One of the guys says, "Oh, you have one hidden that for them to find, one for the keep." And you have another character, Ronan Dex, who's pulling out like a million different knives from various parts. That's pretty much.
Yeah, this is the guy with two bandoliers of knives, and he's got knives hidden on the back of the bandoliers.
Yes.
Pretty much.
And then on either side of
And
the boot, inside.
he has a rapier at his side,
On either side.
Exactly.
which doesn't look like it gets used a lot.
I've done that.
Well, it's good in society because people will look at the rapier and go, "Oh, you actually know how to fight, whether you use it or not."
Yeah.
You know how to fight. Pull out a pistol.
And absent-mindedly most of the time
Right
when
now
he's
from his fight.
not doing anything in particular, he's
Playing
doing
with his knife.
sleight of hand with his cards. So he's got cards and he's constantly shuffling them one-handed, absent-mindedly, like not even knowing what he's doing.
Right.
I'm going to do a stealth later just to see if I can get one of those cards, and then I'm going to give it to Chow Chow to play with. Just
I can see him taking it back before it gets to Chow Chow.
Oh yeah, Chow Chow won't hurt it. Chow Chow will happily give it back.
It's organic
Very
matter.
quickly.
Num 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 num.
You don't hand it the chow chow and your hand's empty because some of these might start to hurt.
You may even decide to let Chow Chow keep it,
Actually,
because you
giving
could
it
be
Chow
in
Chow.
a tight corner at some point,
Yeah.
and she can help you.
Yeah, hands Chow Chow the cards. Chow Chow gets handed a leaf. If they're being naughty about it, it's only.
Yeah. Just be careful with that. Chow Chow does not necessarily eat plants.
No.
Next person at the table is Paul,
I am...
with the most titles, I'm sure.
No, what? Not that many Well, actually, he does have a few titles.
I was going to say,
I was wondering how long I was going to twig that you do have a lot of
I
titles.
do have... I picked up like 4 titles in that last... In the aftermath of that, of the last thing we were doing.
Including the title that you are, the Shadow Elf.
Yes.
There you go.
Which I can't actually tell anybody.
Does that mean I can call him Brits throughout the rest of the
No.
Possibly, but the Shadow Elf is the boogeyman of the elven culture. Because he will come and steal you away, and no one can find you.
Yes.
Which he did.
Which I did. It actually... Yeah,
So you live up to your reputation.
Anyway. Oh, yeah, well... Sorry, yeah, the Shadow Elf of the theft of people. Not a title
So
I'm going to use.
the boogeyman of his culture.
Prince of the Shadow Elves, also a title I'm not going to use. Diplomat, pretty boy, backup healer, actually main healer at the moment. Warlock.
He sounds like positions rather than titles, but sure.
Well, head of Clan Cluel. I used to be part of another clan. Now I'm the head of my own. Because things. Champion of the Shadow Elves. Also a title I can't really use. Wielder of one of the Elven Champion Moonblades, which I can't tell anybody why I actually get to carry it.
So what was your character's name?
Polycus.
How do I spell that?
I wrote it down as Tolicus, so
Autolycus.
T-O-L... Yeah.
No, I'll take the winners with the different
Yep.
spelling.
Yeah. I just took whatever my brain could understand off the letters.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be that much
So,
of a
okay.
thing.
I wrote it down as T-O-L-K-I-U-S.
Apart from the title of head of Clan Cluel, that's the only one I've got that's really going to be widely known. I'm likely to end up with Saviour of the Elven People.
And you also got Diplomat of Tyranny, because you are training to be
true.
a diplomat. You are in the training to be one of their diplomats.
Yes, I'm a diplomatologist, which means, I've actually got that as a title as well as a job.
Because that opens a lot of doors in court.
Oh, yeah.
Because basically, if you can't represent yourself in some ways, that they won't let you even in.
Yes, and a lord of the Elven People. Minor, but still. I can't use Prince at all. Damn it!
You could just
It'd be
use
so
a
cool.
symbol.
Formerly known as
You could,
Prince.
you could get Prince fairly easily if you go and visit Glantry and buy your way in.
Yeah, that's what the Russians did.
Yeah, but that's not a real one. It'd be amusing.
Well, it would be a real prince there if you buy your way in. It is a real prince.
There.
Well, it still counts as a prince everywhere else.
Oh, true.
Because it is an official title.
It's just having enough
Calcrix
money.
has decided she's going to
Anyway.
go there and buy herself a princeship.
Yep. That's fair enough.
I'm going to put that down as one of her life goals.
Yep. I'm going to buy.
Prince
I'm
Lonnie.
going to buy a
like
castle
this.
first.
And the Princes of
yeah,
Galantry
right.
are the top of the food chain because there's no one above the Princes of Galantry.
I think Prince Lani would go well with Prince Lani the Undying.
I
But
agree.
Lani would have greater difficulty getting a princedom at Glantry.
Oh,
No
absolutely.
spellcasting.
No
Oh,
spells.
okay, yeah.
Barely qualify as a citizen if
Yes.
you really pay it a lot.
Exactly.
Calcrix will pay for you. She's got a bit of savings now.
Yeah, no, but no money will buy a non-caster a prince in Glantry.
You get a non-spellcaster can't even be a citizen.
Who is
Yeah.
going to tell anyone that she's not a spellcaster? Calcrix will just stand behind her, and whenever she waves a wand, Calcrix will make sure something happens.
Lonnie will just
They
learn
do actually check on the individual.
sleight of hand magic.
I managed to
Like a magician.
Yes.
Do that close-up magic.
Is this your
Yeah,
case?
just
Yeah.
learn
I
close-up
managed-
magic.
You're a magician.
I managed to fiddle it as a warlock, but it was a little dodgy.
It's okay that they do give non-wizards and sorcerers some leeway, but they generally don't become nobility.
No.
Being a noble's overrated anyway.
Being a noble as a background is incredibly useful.
So just another form of change, I think.
Okay, so the timeline has advanced to the third month of the year of 1008.
So, the third month of 1008.
Yep, so winter is just finished. People have had time off to...
Spring is coming.
It's already spring.
Summer is coming.
Summer is 3 months away.
So spring is
coming.
sprung.
Summaries are coming in.
Alright. Sorry.
It's okay, I was just waiting. And I was trying to figure out what I was saying. Very distractible today.
Alright.
So yes, it is the 1008. So each calendar year of the game, characters advance one level. So as little or as much story as you do in 1 year, the moment the group decides to advance to the next year, you level up. But any stories you haven't done can't be done. So, and all stories are woven to go through the years as the story progresses. So you're not chasing one story to its end each year. You're doing as much as you can of that story before having to pick it up again the following year. Just so you're aware of how that's all working for your character. You'll be associated with various other things in the background because you would know about the fact that there's a war building up between Alphatia and Thyatus as they're getting more aggressive towards each other.
That's the elves and the humans.
The nation of magic users
Aye.
and the nation of fighters. Or empire, actually, to put it in things. So Thyatus is focused around martial tradition. Alphatia is focused around spellcasting tradition. So you have to be a spellcaster to be a citizen of Alphatia, and you have to be a skilled with weapons to be a noble of Thyatus. So they basically each sort of annoy each other.
So, where are
And-
we at the moment?
Darkin.
Derek.
So
Okay.
hadn't quite got there yet.
Sorry.
But it's okay. I was trying to figure out what I was saying. So yes, that's what you know from them, that they are recruiting heavily into the army, such that not all recruitment is voluntary.
Okay.
And if you had still been there, you would have just been a number, not a person.
I would have been on a military ship of some form.
Yep. Most likely chained.
Probably at an oar.
Or maybe I was chained and then I unchained myself and swam to shore.
So that they have been doing this heavily, which has not been noticed outside of the nation, which is a good reason why I think I'll try what's happening over there somewhere. And
Away.
So that's how you've ended up in Darragan.
and you managed to find someone by the name of Redrian who's hiring on people with specialist skills. and he pays fairly well. So you have at your disposal about 10,000 gold, I believe, to help you equip and keep yourself going. Which is basically his discretionary fund for people to pick up extra equipment each year, as well as pay for their other needs.
Is it shared amongst us?
No, that's just
No,
yours.
that's Red Rune to
yours.
you.
That's your cash.
Red Rune is a
nine.
really
Yeah.
good employer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the reason why he has his list of things he's asking people to look out for, and the party tries to do it because he's been paying you quite well to go off and investigate things.
Yeah, well, so far he's been giving us a grand a level as discretionary funds to go and do stuff. Plus we've been getting all the loot from adventure.
And so, like last year, they would have been given about 9 grand, and this year they're given about 10 grand. But anything they hadn't spent from the last year just gets rolled into the 10 grand.
I have a shopping list now.
Oh,
you do.
you will love shopping in this setting.
And so you've been introduced to the other characters as people who will need your specialist skills.
So are we meeting
What's that magic?
as we speak now? Has Calcrix been here very long?
You would have at least
United with Grindelwald?
you would have run into each of the others for about the last month or so.
So just think back a little bit, think slow move, love type scene, but Grindelwald and a white dragon running towards each other in slow motion, almost knocking each other out in a hug. And now Calcrix is so high on coffee she can't stop bouncing off walls. That's pretty much my introduction to the Rivets Night Inn.
No, it's Rivet.
How big is Calcutta?
Medium size at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But we are talking.
I didn't crush Grindelwald. Grindelwald knows well enough to make sure that he doesn't accidentally get run over in these scenes.
But we are talking a 4-legged, 2-winged, long tail, long
Yeah.
necked dragon.
Yep,
So,
you are.
Medium size.
I don't know if you can see the camera. Is that anywhere in sight? That's pretty much what she looks like. She used
Okay.
to be all white, but she's just come back from an adventure with the Queen of Darkness, and she's come away from that with all the black scales.
So that actually looks like shadowed scales,
Yeah.
not black.
Yeah, she's got shadowed scales because she was 2 years with the Queen of Darkness, following up on an assignment from Rodrian with a fellow party person who stayed behind, and she's been called back here by...
Well, you didn't get called back here. You got pulled back to Paul's War.
Yeah, I got called
Yes.
back to Cluel by his summoning of things to
Of the
help.
heroes through time,
In the
of the
fight.
elves and the dragons, which is why the shadow elves and the elves don't like each other, because a shadow elf stole
Stole all the
champions.
all the people who were destined to save the Tree of Life.
Yes,
And it was only people destined to save the Tree of Life were stolen.
yes. And it was to save the Tree of Life that I
And
stole
you can
them.
and you can imagine
But-
how devastating that is for each of the families
Oh,
to
yeah.
have their hero.
The hero that was destined to save the elves suddenly have their saving the elf hero disappear. Okay, they were disappearing to go and save
Aren't
the
they
elves.
going to be too
but they
busy
didn't know.
fighting now, though?
No,
Mm,
soon.
soon. Alright, so...
Well, those elves are all off fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the heroes. They might go home. The survivors.
Well, they if they do go home, they won't go back in time. So
no,
some
they
of
won't.
them
They'll be going back to their clans, or anyone who'll accept them. I'll quite happily accept them because hey, a clan's got to have people. Actually, that's the thing. I'll send a message anyone who.
Well, you already have lots of people joining your clan
Yeah, probably.
because you
Your
attached
notoriety
because
will
last
be-
session you attached your clan to the Shadow Elves.
Yeah, but I'm talking about sort of not in the Shadow Elf realm.
Yes, but they're not in
Okay.
the Shadow Elf realm.
No.
So in the time since you went back to Elfheim, you've noticed a big influx of Shadow Elves using your clan as entry.
Ah. Oh dear.
None of their wards work against your clan.
Yeah. I'm also going to have to find somewhere to place myself. That's going to get diplomacy with the various leaders of the elven clans.
Well, you're listed as just another of the new and up and coming clans.
So do people just join randomly, or?
I know he got the. He made an agreement with his family that the 4 clans he would be attached to their clan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
what I've now got is a bunch of shadow elves who are disguised as normal elves.
Yeah.
They're covering their tattoos and so on.
Yeah.
Are joining Clan Claw as elves are turning up and saying hi.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know that that's much of a problem yet.
and the other thing is you also notice that your sword no longer triggers the wards.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can walk right into the city without the wards going up everywhere.
Which is great.
So, are we like at breakfast time?
So you're getting back to. I was just trying to finish the introductions of what was happening with
we'll
people.
finish the intro.
So you escaped from the war build up. Tolicus did. Lowell, he is dealing with the fact that he's got elves who he doesn't even know, calling themselves his clan, walking around shopping and helping the elves, fitting into society. So he's got one of the best growing clans in Elfheim.
Yes, and I'm not getting any back from anybody else, any of the other clans, but because they're not having people leave them.
No.
I'm just having elves turning up from out of nowhere.
Yep.
Let's hope nobody asks me any questions.
And then
I can say I don't know, because literally, strictly, it's true.
And the dragon has been helping expand her coffee business in Atruaghin City by basically getting coffee from everywhere else in the world.
I've branched into ice cream as well.
Coffee ice cream.
Screw the waffles idea. Waffles and ice cream. We figured it went with coffee.
Have you ever had elven made ice cream?
Probably.
And then we have the tribesman Drachnomir having. What did he get up to during his time off?
So, after we were with the elves, we got transported back to the real world, did we?
You did. You ended up back in Elfheim at the end of the last session.
Yep.
Back in Elfheim, Darken. Yes.
So,
and he's been. So we've had about 6 months or so since then.
About 3 months.
3 months. Yep. Okay.
Mainly because you did the Tree of Life thing so late in the year.
Yep. No, that's fine. He will have been going back to the plateau to help to reconnect with his tribes and groups.
Okay, one thing you find out from them is that they say that a lot of the Dragonborn disappeared overnight around the same time as you remember Lowell pulling people through time.
Lowell looks innocent at this point.
Because the Dragonborn all came from the same moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
The Dragonborn in the setting are only 10 years old. 10 years from when they first appeared.
So, well, I will certainly find that out when I try and actually get towards where the Dragonborn tribe is base located. Not to claim chieftainhood at that point in time, just to actually understand who apparently I've become chieftain of. And I recognise that, well, apparently it's a small tribe now.
Okay, so I'm assuming you'll travel with Drazzle at that stage?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because unfortunately,
we've got to get used to doing Drazzle again. So.
Because without him, unfortunately, it's impossible to find their city.
Okay. Well,
and when you find their city, you realise that it wasn't really an impact on their armies.
So no population change, really, not noticeably.
No, he finds out that they've probably got more people in that one city than they have in most of the plateau.
So yes, he was thinking he had a small tribe, but turns out he's got a really, 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 really big tribe.
At the current counting of what you've got there, they're as big as the United Clans.
Right. Gee, thanks, Atruaghin.
And most of them are in the 2-year-old mentality of pretty chase.
Oh dear.
So while they're hatched, able to speak and fight, a hatchling is a capable fighter. That gives you the idea that a 2-year-old of them is basically still wandering around going, something new, let's chase.
And bashing through doors. Yeah.
They've got some growing up to do.
I'll make a point, by the way. If you're not leaving Alfheim, then you're all staying at my place, my parents' place. So you're going to have a noble lifestyle.
At the moment, I believe I'm in Darrakan, sorting out my business since my 2-year absence.
Most of them will end up in Darrakan
okay.
because that's where Redreen is, and it's not that. It doesn't cost you any real time to travel there and back.
Oh, good point. I can do the same thing in Darrakan because the family's got house there, so you can stay there as well.
Yeah.
Or at Redreen's place if you wish.
I'll also be doing interviews or setting up a little post office there, because I need to facilitate mailing of beans and things, but I'm also pen pals with a number of people, including Drazzle, so I want to kind of set up a special...
All good. I just want to get to the other background stuff.
Sorry.
So you are okay with that, Jeremy, as your background?
All good. Yep.
So your character wouldn't have found out all about the dragons unless you did travel with Drazzle?
No, that's the sort of thing that the... if Drazzle was happy to be returning back to that location, then that's all the more reason why he actually went and got there, as opposed to just returning to the plateau.
So you did see he was well received by most of the Dragonborn. The ones that didn't receive him well had to be told who he was.
Right, okay.
Because you have a feeling that he doesn't venture amongst them very often.
No.
And he does tell you that there is an event coming up that he needs to prepare for.
Okay.
Having gathered some supplies from them and his wagon.
His wagon is scary.
His wagon or horse and his wagon?
They're both scary.
Well, horse always goes with the wagon. Because you need to protect the wagon somehow.
Yeah, well, that's the
Otherwise, the wagon keeps killing people.
Because each of them is scary in their own way.
Didn't realise that the wagon was sentient, but...
No, it's not. It's a portal. It's a time portal.
Okay.
Don't touch it.
I wouldn't guarantee the statement it's not sentient.
Well...
Yeah, I was going to say, are we sure it's not sentient? Even if it is a portal?
Okay, it's not perceptibly sentient. Unlike the horse, which is both perceptibly sentient and clawed and has big teeth.
And it looks like a Clydesdale.
Yes.
With backward legs, I think.
No. It's a perfectly normal horse, but...
Until it starts moving.
Until it starts moving, at which point the legs move weird and it leaves marks on stone, claw marks.
And it likes to turn its head backwards and then roll its head around and bite its back and all that sort of stuff.
Play with people's heads because, it's sentient and has a sense of humour.
Okay, so now that we've done what...
It's basically...
Sorry. So we're now up to what Lani's doing during that time frame. What did you have in mind for Lani, Kesley?
So this was our downtime.
So this is the event you sort of got into while you were away from the others.
Yeah, no, I was probably in Darrakan, just kind of training what I could with the weapons that we picked.
Okay.
For getting to know some of the people around the city, singing, drinking songs and sailing songs, spending time in the bars, getting to know the people there, and yeah, just kind of chilling and having a good time.
So big things you picked up on during that time is that the various evil humanoid hordes in the Broken Lands are truly acting as one unit now. So where they used to have orcs, trolls, goblins, hobgoblins, gnolls all fighting each other, they've stopped. There's not been one confrontation in the last few months between any of the races of what they call the Broken Lands.
So in the light of that party girl, are you still partying, or are you going to do any of...
Well, this is the rumour she's hearing.
Oh, okay.
This is not her going off and doing other things.
Yeah,
So
she
I'm
can't do anything about it.
I'm just trying to get to the other stuff she gets as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, stop interrupting. Eventually.
So you hear about that disturbing thing as well as that the nation of Sind to the west of Tyranny is currently being invaded by a army led by the Desert Nomad. He's a religious zealot of another nation and not known to treat anyone not of his faith fairly, which is basically he pretty much beheads anyone not of his belief. And no one knows what belief he is.
Because if anyone asks, therefore they're not of the right belief and he beheads them.
Yeah.
So what did you
Rather than
say he was called?
Master of the Desert Nomads.
Yeah.
He's simply known as the Master by a lot of people.
Okay.
Okay, so if you guys want to have your characters catch up for a bit, I'm just going to duck to the toilet, and I'll be back in a moment.
Tyranny is basically a round alpha.
Yeah.
That's just a big ass forest.
Yep.
Mountainous. So Darrakan's includes the strip between the mountains and Alpine and that bit there. That's Broken Lands, that's what he was just talking about, so it's quite close by. Darrakan itself...
I wonder if the people who are uniting the orcs and things with this Master of the Desert Nomads.
I would not be surprised.
No, not at all.
Yeah. That's the
Well, would
So all
the
this stuff
Broken
is actually
Lands
quite
be
small.
where this other country is?
No, the Broken Lands are significantly separate from the Desert Lands in that kind of way.
Gotcha. So it seems like they're maybe separate
These
in
guys are
sense,
basically up on
but
the plateau.
it may be in the bigger picture of everything.
Yes.
May or may not be related.
That's just it. Like, yeah, it certainly seems that there's a lot of what should have been disparate forces
Yeah.
are apparently gathering together.
Yeah, unifying. Someone must be unifying them.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if this might be on one of Redren's investigation
No, daggers are still good.
lists.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Weapon.
Yeah.
I think for my bigger weapon, I might just make it.
But it sounds like, wasn't there war where Jeff's character's coming from?
Yep.
Where was that?
That was between the Thyatan Empire and the Alphatian Empire.
Okay, so
They're building
there's
up.
a number of places.
So-
coming up.
They're not actually fighting, but they're building up.
It is getting a bit interesting that there's so many places getting ready for war. It looks
Oh,
like
there's... Yeah, it's...
so potentially there could be somebody triggering it.
So would you have
Yeah.
to say there's building tensions between
Alphatia and
Alphatia and
Thyatus.
Thyatus?
And the Alphatian wizards are challenging the Galantrian wizards to duels to the death all over the place.
This is Hobbits. 5 shots.
So that's been ongoing for a couple of years. And it's not nice deaths either. It's basically as horrible magic deaths as you can ever imagine is being inflicted upon each other.
And that's between the Thyatus and the Alphatians?
The Alphatians and the Galantrians.
Okay, so this is yet a third sort of...
And
so you've got the Prophet of Doom and Gloom. We've got the humanoids all banding together, which is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And they believe that an Orc king has united them called Thar.
good thing about humanoids, though, is if you can get to the king, kill him, break up everything. Problem is, the person's powerful enough to.
Did you say
invade the
Thar?
vault,
Yeah, THAR.
It's going to be hard to deal with.
and you don't use it, and it's probably not going to be easy for us just to wander up to.
No.
You also Jeremy, the Atruaghin people actually noticed the sacking of the nation of Sind next to their country,
Right?
and it disturbs most of the shamans there.
I was going to say, yes, that's a bad thing, because whilst we're up on the plateau, we're still in the path of the line of fire if they decide to actually move eastward.
If they go coastal, you are. If they go to the north of the plateau, you're fine.
Yeah.
But it's very hard for them to assault the plateau.
That's right.
Group are called which
The
again?
Atruaghin people.
Atruaghin, yeah.
So think American Indians, but with the totems. I'm talking to.
Yeah, so
They have every animalistic sort of race amongst them, treated as valued members of the tribe.
So
But the only place you'll find cat folk, bird folk, dog folk, fish folk, snake folk, all that sort of stuff walking around freely.
elsewhere they get in a lot of trouble.
Elsewhere, they're treated with suspicion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of suspicion going around and distrust, especially with the build-up of forces. You do hear that the Ethengarians and the Haldanic Knights are fighting each other in small skirmishes along their border, which are the Mongolian Horde and Crusader Knights.
Has it always been like this much?
The tension has been building up over the game years. So at the start of at level 1, year 1000, there wasn't all this tension going around. There were small little skirmishes here and there, the equivalent of a small group of people fighting a small group of people. Now they're talking about nations mobilizing.
Having said that, there's been a lot of the conflicts that have been occurring so far are still often have historical enemy bases. Like the Haldanic Knights and the Ethengarians have always hated each other. They've skirmished across the borders all the time.
Yeah.
And
It's just that it's always been small fry at that point in time.
And so for the first time in known history, the Ethengarian mail service has stopped as all their forces have been recalled. And they were the postal delivery service that most people used because they always delivered, no matter how many people they had to kill along the way. That was their policy.
Yes, and now it's just...
Obviously, it's all a cunning plan by the gnomes so they can improve their messenger service.
Yep, and this is the first time as well that no airships have arrived in Darrakan this season.
Okay.
So you're used to the flying ships showing up on a regular basis, ranging from dirigibles to roaring machines of death. That's the best way to describe it because no one really understands how they stay afloat.
Yes, the gnomish sting airships.
So they range in different levels of technology all the time.
So I wonder what our employer is going to expect us to do first.
Well, your employer generally gives you options in saying, what do you feel capable of? He generally doesn't say, I want you to do this. Because if you don't feel capable of doing something, he'll find someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get paid for that job.
Yes, but there's still going to be a list of things to choose from.
Okay, so you do hear from the from Adrian that there's been some news he's been able to gather about what's been happening out in the world at the moment. News are that the elven trees of life are failing, which is a thing that sustains the people and allows them to reproduce. No elf has been born since they started failing.
Okay.
That's what we were doing.
Though Paul knows that shadow elves have been born.
Yes, but none of the elves that are bound to the trees.
Yes, I thought you'd like that distinction.
Yeah. No.
So, just something
Still
for me to
bad.
confirm since I missed the last session of the
Yep.
previous adventure.
Oh.
Did we actually save the Tree of Life, which had the big one, but not the small one?
They were given the option of being the war or being known as something other than the war.
Basically, if we stayed there, we would have finished our adventuring careers.
Yeah.
Because we would have become the people who were there at the war, and I would have been the one helping people organise it.
Yeah.
I'd have been known as the great leader of the war that saved the Tree of Life, but I would have given up the character as an adventurer.
Yeah, no, that's all good. But when we left, so basically, when we left,
I was
the Tree of Life was still.
I was about to say we hadn't actually finished the battle because that's still ongoing and will be until Martin decides it's done.
Yeah,
but
right.
we had got things to the point where it looked like we had a very winning proposition, and I'd got some really nice roles on keeping people organised and working together, including getting a whole bunch of people from the Shadow Elves to join in, even though they're not bound by the tree.
So the what you get from your perspective is the elves had enough forces to defend, not enough to attack.
Yeah, that's just it. So from our perspective, whilst the stories around Clantree and Darrican and things like that are still about the fact that the trees of life are dying.
Yep.
Yeah.
From our perspective, they should be on the improve
soon
in the near future if they're not already started. Is that right?
You don't know, to be honest. Though Llewell would be in
the war.
Llewell would be in the know that all the trees of the forest have gone into hibernation.
Yeah.
To the point of they're almost dead.
It's like winter.
There's no way to draw on them as trees of life anymore, and all the elven magic of the forest is starting to fail.
Yeah. So it basically comes down to, at some point, a bunch of elves are going to turn up, and possibly centaurs and whatever, are going to turn up and say, Chief Llewell, we've got some saplings for you to hand out. We won. We hope. Well, we got to the point where it looked like that was going to be the outcome.
Because each clan received a sapling from the tree, and that's where they all the elves got their power from.
Yeah, because those trees were all bound together, and all bound to the Tree of Life, and
and bound to the World Tree.
Yes.
So I guess the question comes down to...
The Tree of Life was created by my patron, which is why I ended up doing this.
So my question then to Plural, when Regri is discussing, hey, there's stories about the Trees of Life dead, or dying, Regri was obviously aware that we were heading into Elfheim 3 months ago, 8 months, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Is Lul going to actually report back on what the expectation of that is?
Well, this would be after you've had a chance to talk to him, so
yeah.
You would have.
Well, that's the thing. We've only just had the intro. I haven't had a chance to talk to Redrian and tell him about anything yet.
Okay.
It's also assumed that you've also had time to talk to him over that 3 months as well.
Yeah, I know.
So
you were still doing the intro.
So
I couldn't do anything yet.
All good. So the thing you've heard about from Llewell's side of things is they don't believe the trees will recover because the forest itself is sucking the energy out of them. That the forest is sustained by the magic of the trees.
Yeah, and because the trees are no longer powered by the Tree of Life, because, which means we're going to have to do a pretty big replanting, I think, if it goes any longer at all.
Okay. News from the Alphatian continent is that they have recalled their air fleet. They have over probably about 200,000 vessels, skyships with weapons of war on them.
And they've all pulled them back in for self-defense.
No, they've recalled them to the capital from all over the planet as well. To the capital only, as well as from any planes that they were travelling. Because they are also plane travellers.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest sky fleet in history, which no other nation, not even the dragons, can withstand.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So
Great defense
it's
of the country.
basically a horror story for most Thiatans to imagine ships better than their seagoing vessels shooting them from above.
Hmm.
You don't put together that big fleet in one spot for defensive purposes.
Oh, it's not believed to be defensive because their entire armies are being brought in. Their best artillerists are being brought there.
That's the thing.
It's more likely to be re-equipped and refitted with the most modern assault weaponry available.
Yeah, they're powerful enough that they could break that into 10 fleets, and each fleet could be sent to a country and devastate it.
Well, the dragons are one of the people that keep them in check,
Yeah.
and the dragons have disappeared.
And
The dragons have
with that sort of
left the field of battle.
yeah, well, with that sort of concentration, they could take the dragons out. So, yeah, the Phaeacians are up to something, and they're powerful enough that it's not up to adventurers to deal with shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I get really good at being a better diplomat.
So that's going on that's the news from Alphatia. The news from the Broken Lands was the fact that the humanoids have all organized under King Thar.
Right.
And no one likes that news.
No.
It's nice when they kill each other rather than...
Well, if they're killing each other, then all the surrounding nations can potentially move through their area because they do control 2 major trade routes. And while they're fighting each other, they're too busy to control the trade route. Because the trade route crosses the borders between internal nations. And now it's all one nation, you actually have to cross the nation itself. And the cat does like to speak up to people. In Darrakan itself,
If
anyone likes an adventure,
there are explorers wanted to dig deeper under the city as they have broken into new dungeons below. So that's for those who really feel they must dungeon crawl.
yeah, it's
I was thinking you were going to go, it's time to dungeon crawl.
No, it's just good. Stupid schools.
It's just the purposeful way it came up. I'm like,
Yeah.
the line's got to be coming here.
well, he was reading it.
Okay.
I know, but I mistook it.
So the Ethengarians basically gearing up for war with the Haldanic Knights is basically another discussion on the tables because they're looking at heading north as a nation.
Yes.
So it's not just sitting there fighters. They're going to take the entire thing north.
Wow.
Sorry, I would trade by ruins because it's far away from war and being drafted into the Navy.
No, that's fair enough. We were just at some ruins. We don't want to go there. But yeah, there's
From the sounds of things, there is no getting away from war.
In
this medieval style war, it's usually really localized, unless you're in the way of, say, a really huge moving army.
which is like
Basically ignore them.
the Mongol horde going north.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is,
But-
it seems like lots of places are gearing up for
Oh, yeah.
total war. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's the
It's
thing.
not like skirmishes or
No.
this kingdom having a fight. It looks like they're all
Yeah.
So-
getting into
Yeah,
it.
well, as you said, they've all been doing this. This has been happening for years. It's just getting worse and worse and worse over time. It's very obviously going to be basically a world war soon.
So in Galantry, the province, the Principality of Moldavia, is still ongoing for its second year in a row of armies of undead fighting armies of undead.
So they're necromancers or something. Or,
Is it? They believe that there are 5 vampires contesting for control of the region.
it's not really.
No.
They even they've even Redrian's discovered that one of them comes from Karamikos, one of them comes from Rockholm, one of them comes from Denningar to the north of Wendar, one of them is based in Galantry. and they don't know where the fifth one came from, but they believe he stepped through the plains.
Right.
So each of them are considered strong enough to take out whoever's prince of that region and take control of it.
Right.
So the fact that they're fighting each other first.
Everyone else is going great, but eventually that'll stop, and then it'll be bad for everyone.
But it has stopped the Ithangarians from going that way anymore.
That's true. At least for now.
And the problem with the we can let all the vampires and undead armies sort it out amongst themselves. Unfortunately, when they have sorted it out, the one that sorted it out's got an army that's 5 times the size, because it's not like they lose personnel.
Yeah.
Which is a very good point. And scary, too.
Okay. In the regions of Irendi, they are dealing with an undersea conflict. So the island nations have joined the fight under the water.
Great. And we've got to go and get working for Redrin. We've got to go and get parts of what's Redrin's vessel, because people looted it and used bits of it for magical power.
To kill each
Or
other.
pseudo-magical power. And one, he's got to put his ship back together and basically have it leave the world.
Mm.
And two, he wants to stop people using it in the war. This has the fun effect of, at one point, we're going to have to go to a dwarven floating city and nick the thing that's making it float. Because it's one of his engines.
Feel free, I can do another little pizza.
Yeah, that would be good.
One of his space drives.
So news from Karamikos is the Duke is looking for a non-aligned people to help with protecting a dignitary.
Mm-hmm.
That the Great Gnome Caravan is looking to continue running again after it disappeared for a few years.
Yeah. We help with that, but yeah.
And there's worry about what's going to happen with the Duke's Road serial killer, who normally wipes people out on the Duke's Road once a year.
It's almost that time of year again.
It is that time of year again.
Yeah.
It happens in the third month of the year. Always the third month of the year.
We did some research on that, didn't we?
He's been doing it for probably a couple of 100 years.
Okay. Is he, from what we've been able to find out, is he at the sort of power level that people of our capability could do something about him?
Well, you think he might be one of the ones in Galantry at the moment.
As in, we have actually...
no.
Because we have actually been somewhat in contact when we were in Karamikos before, looking at the known caravan
and you just missed him
also
one time.
the time block in what small town there? Not Kelvin, the other one. But anyway, and so we did actually end up being in the vicinity of one of the massacres, or shortly thereafterwards.
It was near Krakatos.
We did some research and found some stuff out about what was actually causing it. But I'm not sure we're at a power level we could actually deal with it.
And that's with the thing, it's not all the stories are at the equivalent power level of the characters.
Oh, exactly.
So it's not all scaled.
Yeah.
But if you want to take on the big bad, that's your choice.
Yeah, that's why we have to look at things and go, are we actually capable of doing that, or are we just going to get splattered?
Okay, so there's also...
So in conjunction with talking with Redrin about these, as in, that one looks interesting, and if he says, no, that would be bad, so, okay, cool, we'll look at the other ones.
Well, he leaves it up to you to choose what to do. So if you go, we want to do that one, he goes, well, if you survive, we'll find out. Which is for any of the ones he sends you on.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so he's
Jack Miller would
useless.
be picked
So
up.
he's useless as a reference. So we won't use him as one. We'll use other research.
Well, we can do some research.
So-
And the other thing you hear about is that the Council of Darkin is looking to try to get someone in to see the Storm Giants. But to do so, you've got to go through one of the other giant cities. And the giant cities have only been around since the dragons went into pulled back from the world.
Isn't
I'm
Alani like
certain-
a giant's bane or something like that?
She calls herself a giant's bane, yes.
Personally, I'd be more worried about a dragon in the party if we went to visit the giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
But-
Yeah, because I'm fire giants, and from what I know of giants, maybe not Lonnie knows, but they don't necessarily always get along with each other. Or they have a hierarchy.
I was trying
Well,
to
up
research
until
it,
recently, the giants had been forbidden to gather in more than a tiny tribe.
Yeah. What's different?
And now they're not.
And now they're gathered. They are now gathering in cities, which is
He's pretty skittish, so
which is worrying when you.
Let him come have a sniff when he's feeling
I
safe.
think came up before and had a sniff in my hand.
I've got to wait until you finish talking because it will. The microphone picks up everything. That's okay. I've just got to mention these things, otherwise the crosstalk also does me in mentally. So that they were saying that the giants have been forbidden to gather, and the storm giants have kept them in check. But the storm giants disappeared from the world for a while, and Redrin and the council are trying to look at ways of bringing them back. But to do so, you'd have to go through one of the giant cities.
A particular type of giant city.
Each of the giant types have founded their own city.
Oh.
So you just choose one.
So there is one in Karamikos for the hill giants. There's a fire giant one in Rockholm. There is a mountain giant one in, I think it's the northern reaches side of Rockholm. There is a few other different ones floating around, but each of them have they have their own portal network that is unlike everyone else's. They have their own magic,
Giants
which
would be problematic.
which had been suppressed for many years. So on top of that one, you've also got expansion of cults in the northern reaches, plus something called a Devastation Orb up for sale. A magical
How
item.
much do they go for?
It's never been for sale before,
Oh,
so they have no idea. It's going to auction.
sounds like
That-
something worth keeping an eye on.
It also sounds like something that might be part of Redrin's stuff.
Yeah, that's why.
And it's been advertised to. It's been advertised to all high-end countries with wealth.
Black hole controllers
The
probably
giants
would.
probably
Yes.
be
Yeah.
a good idea until you get more of your
We'd need,
diplomacy masters.
we'd need to be much crunchier than we are now.
Depending on the giant type.
At least though, knowing about these kind of news and things, we have an idea of what we want to get better at.
The dwarves are looking for people who are willing to negotiate with the Shadowlands, which is the underground realms.
I don't know, perhaps,
That
the leader of the
that
shadow...
would be.
Okay, the leader of the not shadow elves.
Just leave the word shadow off there entirely.
Is Shadowlands like kind of equivalent to Forgotten Realms Underworld or Underdark?
It is
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing, yes.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
just,
cool.
It's only got the one people in it, not like
Right. Okay.
here's this
Gotcha.
group of evil guys, here's this group of evil guys, here's this group of evil guys.
Makes sense.
Unlike my lot, who are presently over the top of a city of aboleths, and you just don't want to know about them.
They ring a bell, and not for a good reason.
Uh,
I don't want to disrupt Martin's new stuff.
No.
I
No.
have a vague memory of what they are, though.
Yeah, good, not good news.
no.
No.
Okay,
There's a
so
lot of pinging going on.
Yeah, well, sorry, I'm
It's
getting
okay.
stuff coming in, multiple things organising the game on
Well,
Friday, and there's something
Just
both.
to remember, I've been brought on board for a particular set of skills and abilities.
mhm.
And what would they be?
He's skilled.
I'm very...
Having a sharp wit.
Yes.
Yes.
Not quite.
I like this.
Gambling, you're in.
I'm very good at taking money from fools, but locks and traps have very ability to just tend to stop working around me and not. I get into places where I'm not supposed to be.
Certain
No,
skills.
you're supposed to be there. It's just that nobody else wants you there.
So maybe I've been brought into your group at the moment to assist with potentially missions that would require a deft hand.
I'm guessing so. Are we getting this news from Reggie?
Yeah,
Or just in general?
from Reggie.
Okay,
Which I said at the start of it.
Yeah. Sorry, I probably is in the bathroom.
That's okay. And he does say that the Scothar continent, which I might need to show you which one that is.
That's the thing for you, because it's human origin. Everything has.
So you've got, this is the area where you guys are in called the Brun continent.
Yeah.
Scothar continent's over here.
Okay, so it's a pretty big continent.
It's a big continent, and Redrian is saying he's got news that there is a massive fight brewing over there between various beliefs.
It's a war. We're not.
Oh,
warfare types.
it's basically a annihilation of beliefs.
I think this is...
Okay, it's warfare with gods involved.
Mm-hmm.
That would be just worse.
I think most of this news is if we are looking for Redran's ship parts, we need to be aware of the conflicts we're going to be moving
We're just not
about.
going to do anything with them. We'd move around them.
Probably
But-
not on our own, but we might contribute to a bigger
But knowing what's
cause.
happening in the
yeah,
world
well-
is important, because
Oh,
when
yeah.
you meet people and you realise they've come from this region, they might have news of that region
Oh,
for
yeah.
you.
Oh,
we
no,
don't
no, I realise
necessarily
it.
want
It's
to
just-
make things worse.
It's news of what's going on. It's not part of our list of things
Yep.
we're going to deal with.
And in Yularum, a strange tower is a...
Yes.
Sorry.
I'll let you finish.
I said except for that Devastation Orb, that might be something that might concern us at some point.
Okay. And he does report on that in Yularum, a strange tower has appeared in the desert in a lake that was never there, that shimmers with many colours.
Is that where I've just come from? I'm pretty sure.
You've just come from Alfheim and Durrican, where the
No,
others
I
were.
mean, that's where
You
I
were
was the
you were there
cheapest.
over quite a few months ago. This has happened since then.
I understand that, but is that in the area where I just came from in terms of...
That was the area where you were before you jumped to the battle. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's what I was just
Sorry.
checking.
Mystery Tower could be fun.
Because I could write to my friends down that way and see if they've got any more info if needed. Is what I'm thinking.
That's okay. I was just trying to get their news bit out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that would be when Redrian would ask, is there anything in those things that are happening that you wish to investigate? Though noting that the further away it is, the less likely you'll be doing much else during this year's investigations.
What's the closest thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the closest thing?
Anything's
our country.
within the city of Darrican itself. So
Well,
that would be exploring the dungeons that have just been found.
Mhm. That'd be
And then the other close by one is the to the west of Darrican. There is the area of Sin that has been
Yeah.
invaded by the master of the desert nomads.
And
Maybe-
also Jeremy's tribe next door to that, and they're a bit concerned about it, so there might be a
Yep.
dual sort of thing there.
Certainly, Jack Nimmer would be keen to put forward that if Sind is rising again, has come under the one master, then they need to be put down again.
Yep.
But I will also point out that when you're talking about the closest or options, noting that geography is not actually the only factor involved, because
No.
we do have a portal network
Yeah.
to jump to
Yeah.
a number
Exactly.
of locations.
So
Yeah.
to get the
Right.
sin,
Has a lot of-
Probably a longer one for some of them.
so to get
Yeah.
to Sind yourself, you have to cross a closed border and a desert to actually get to anywhere of importance.
Right. So
In,
that it's going to be a one adventure year.
It may be a one you don't return from because it's not that nice a place right now.
Maybe we
As I said, the one that Jack Nimmer would be keen to put forward, but I don't expect it to be the option to take because it is a long way out of our way.
So I think it's a good one to note to see how it develops.
Okay.
I suppose.
Let's
But I am interested in the Devastation Orb.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, where was the Devastation Orb?
That was going for sale in the Northern Reaches.
Okay, and
have a look at Redrian's portal network.
that's what I was going to say.
Is there anything up there? Because I know he's at some point going to have one in the area.
Because, as Dracula said, there's a portal there. Maybe we should find out.
Yeah, because I was about to suggest having a look at what's available, not on proximity to Darrakan, but proximity to existing nodes in Redrian's portal network. Because that's the important thing right at the moment.
I would need to look at
it also means I can go and get
actual
my
map.
horse and mule back.
Is your horse and your mule?
I do. I got them for a reason.
Okay, so at this stage, so you've got portals in the Knights River Inn as the central location. Then it's also opened up to Alfheim City, Arakoris, Corriglane, both in Darrakan, and Tothmere in the Five Shires. Then opened up in Escasoli in Darrakan, which is closest to Sind, but it's the end of the road. Galantry City, Selenica, which is also in Darrakan. Darrakan has the most cities of the world, except for Alphatia. That's the biggest empire. But it's the biggest nation itself, if you're not calling an empire a nation. Shireton also has one. Then this year he's opened it up into Calvin, Lun in Karamikos, Yalarum, and Irendi.
So is there one close to where the auction is?
Yalarum is the closest one to the auction.
And how far from Yalarum would the auction be?
Probably about half a month's travel.
She's much quicker.
It's if I was to bring it up on the map here for you to see.
When's the auction happening?
So it's happening in this region here somewhere, and Yalarum is there.
Okay.
So a couple of quick hypotheticals.
Mhm.
Would I still have any contacts there that might be able to speed us along?
Possibly, but if you're going to send them a letter, you can get there before the letter does.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, when I get there, I could get in contact with them and say, look, can you speed us more this way?
Most of the people you have who can speed you along the way would have access to flying magic,
Right.
who are currently no longer in the region.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So one of the notes I did point down is all the airships of the world have pretty much been recalled to Alphatia.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I suppose we
Which
can...
means the other ones are the gnomish ones.
About...
No, even the gnomish ones have gone there.
I was going to say, so I wouldn't have any call with Grindelwald.
That's what has gotten people so shocked in Darrakan is no gnomish airships have arrived this winter.
Yes,
Okay.
I remember that.
So,
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're not going to have the cash to purchase this item.
I don't know, you got 10 grand on you, so, you know. Maybe we just spend all your money.
If they're selling it to states,
Yeah, no,
get that value and put another couple of zeros on it.
I've actually, when I finish tonight, I'm going to actually have to go and do some shopping and say, unless something bad happens during this session,
Yeah.
I don't think shopping before we left.
Yeah, if there's a shopping trip, just be careful, because what you want and what you get may be two different things.
But they will describe the item, but the item won't have a name.
Quite
Yeah.
often, so...
That's how I ended up in a Pokemon bag.
There's two ways to get a magic item. One of them is, do you have any magic items? And then you pick from what they've got available. Or, can you get me this magic item, which will usually cost about 5 times as much, but you get what you're after. So,
Are the northern reaches reachable by boat on river, or is it all landlocked?
Most of northern reaches, you have two nations that you can do by road and one by boat.
But where we need to go, can we get there by boat?
You're not sure. You just know it comes for sale in that region,
Gotcha.
in one of those 3 countries.
So we have to go to that region and actually investigate.
And because they haven't advertised where it is, people can't go in and steal it before it goes to auction.
I'm guessing.
Well, there goes my plan.
Well, but also the plan of taking a ship is not unreasonable on the idea that whilst, we could take the Knights River Inn network directly to Yalara, noting that half a month of travel or whatever was across a desert.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
As long as you pay it
Or
right
grass like
enough,
that,
they won't
definitely.
kill you until once they've got the money.
We can find if there's a port city we can go to. There's a couple of us, I believe, who have some inns with sailors and stuff, and we may be able to get some information on the auction through sort of the ne'er-do-wells and the ports.
Well, the best port nation you've got access to is Irendi, considering you actually have one of their sailors with you.
Person. Yep.
Yes.
And whilst the content, the aspect of 2 of the places in the northern regions can be got to by road, all 3 of them can be got to by sea.
That is correct.
If we took a boat and it turned out the one we needed to get to was only available by sea, we've got a boat already.
All right, I think that sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
I think that's what we're gonna do. Cool.
Okay. So it means you actually get to have a sailors on ships.
Yeah,
We'll
I think they might enjoy that for a change.
We get to test each other on our knot tying skills.
Well, the Irendi ships are the best built on water. So much so that they don't sell it to anyone else.
No.
But they freely build them for the pirates of the 5 Shires.
Yes. Except they make them for halflings, which means going and nicking them off the pirates is a bit of a bugger.
Okay, so we're going to go to a port where we can get an Irendi ship. So how close is a portal to the port city?
Well, from staying at the Knights River Inn where you speak to Redrian, it's in the basement. He has his own portal network only usable by his workers to save on people doing it for other things.
So we can get a pop to a port from there because there's a Knights River Inn in a port because they're all the same name.
Is it possible? Actually, we're going to a port city, so the item I want, at least one of the items I want, would probably be easier to get from a port city.
Depends on the item.
Studded mariner's armor. Because if we're going on a boat, I don't want to drown. But it also suits the character having the mariners. It's the pretty. Let's swim and not drown.
Let me see.
Because
Certainly, technically, Darrakan and or Glantry are the best places to buy magical items. In theory.
Yeah, Mariner's Armour. Uncommon.
I think you get more expensive based on the plus.
There's no actual real plus on it. It's just Mariner's Armour. There is magical item combination rules, which I haven't had a look at for a while since I found out you've got to.
And also because some of the rules aren't given to players specifically. Because knowing all the rules is part of their characters learning over time.
Yeah. Well, the
That's
the problem in this case was I got the magical item combination stuff that Martin had written, and then found out after I'd worked some stuff out that the gods were actually involved, and I had to do negotiation to combine items together, which weren't there when I was reading the stuff to start with. So
basically, I'd like to get some magical mariner's armor if possible.
That would not be too difficult for you to get, because it gives you a swimming speed
without attunement.
Yep.
And if it's got some extra protection, that would be nice.
Well,
but
the attunement aspect of it is once per long rest, when you're struck, you can have the damage re-rolled and take the lowest of the 2 rolls.
So
Which
that's actually quite handy because that could
Yeah.
be the difference between being killed and.
exactly.
Because I have a tendency of rolling high on the numbers, and I don't roll behind a screen, so...
That's fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
like
rolls
this-
on camera with a flashing D20 so that we know our fate.
Yes.
Reminds me, I should get that flashing D20 so you're not disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, some Mariner's armor and some magical knife or something.
Yeah.
Wide choices.
Yes.
The flashing D20.
Yes.
Guaranteed to flash more than once per session,
Yes.
even if I only roll twice.
Yes. The returning dagger is rather out of his price range. But
The return daggers, that's fine, but yeah, just like.
yeah.
And,
Well-
and I've changed my other weapon mastery from rapier to short swords because it goes with the picture.
Considering you can get a magical dagger for
Not huge amounts.
to 50 gold, I think.
No. Okay.
If you get
Yep, 50 gold will get you a magical dagger.
Having a returning one is very nice. I have a
So
returning trident.
it would be a moon touch dagger.
Yes, a returning weapon is 30 grand.
Lonnie will advocate for the benefits and advantages of a returning weapon.
Oh yeah, but buying one is going to be like 3 levels away at least.
Yeah.
So to
Well,
get
no,
a
Always good. Oh, you got.
You could have a dagger of vengeance for 400 gold.
What's that do?
So
Not everything good advantage.
So your weapon damage, so standard is you get a +1 to hit and damage rolls. When you attuned, you do an extra dice of damage. And you must always use that weapon to attack, otherwise you have disadvantage on attack rolls.
So no.
That's just
If you want some versatility,
But if that's your magical dagger, then there's no reason why you wouldn't use it every time. Like it's your own
except,
dagger user.
except if he wants to, say, use a sap or shoot someone with a bow, he can't.
Or if I want to throw one of my other daggers at somebody.
Yeah.
As I said, it's not all good.
Yes, that was the point.
Yeah, just a basic moon touch dagger will be fine.
And then there's also the dagger of warning. That gives you advantage on initiative rolls, and you can't be surprised while you've got it out.
What's the downside?
The downside is you've got to have it out if you don't want to be surprised.
Yeah.
That one's all
So
good.
it's
It's
going to be
just,
cards, you should be flipping them up.
Yeah, the
Or
problem is if he's
someone-
walking down the street and trying not to be noticed by the watch
Well, then he'll have his knife in his pocket.
in his hand.
Okay.
In his hand, yes.
Yes.
In his pocket.
But advantage on
Like you have
initiative
one of
is
those
handy.
little pouches.
No, just the plus one. And, having a
You
bit of
can get a basic +1 dagger for 400 as well.
Yeah.
Which, if you attune it, does an extra dice of damage.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. And how much is the Mariner's going to set me back?
400 as well. That's the average price for
So it's just normal
For
starters
buying
with no
specific
bonus and just the Mariner's ability.
Yeah.
Okay.
items, and all magic items can gain things over time, and people can enchant them with other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But most gods frown on destroying an item to make an item, because history is attached to the item.
Yeah, which is why I was, with what I was trying to do was have new enchantments put on rather than putting them on their own items.
Cool. So that
And that's what I was
leaves me
trying to do,
9,200 to buy fancy stuff.
And then if you really wanted to get rare stuff, that would set you back
Lots.
12,000 per rare item.
I don't have that.
So stick with uncommons. You can get a few of them.
Yeah.
Also note.
Like I said, I'll do a bit of a proper
Yeah.
look around, it's not taking up game time.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
So-
also note that the number of items you can attune to is, it's 2 plus your proficiency bonus.
No, 2 plus your tier.
Tier,
So you're a
sorry.
tier 2 character,
Yeah.
and tiers are every 5 levels.
So I can do
So
4 items.
You can do 4 items, yes.
Well, that's the going with tune the Mariner's armor.
Yeah.
Which does make things a lot easier for you as you get more items as you go. One of the warlock abilities actually allows you to attune as if you're of any race.
Yes. Which Which means I get the relic ability
Yes.
too, doesn't it? Yes.
That was what I was pointing out to you just
right.
then.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
That makes it far more powerful than it was before.
yes, it does. So that's level 12 because I've just got the expansion on the Pact of the Time
Mhm.
feature. So now I can do all the ritual spells properly.
Okay, so yes, Redrian says that you want to go off and investigate the Devastation Orb. He has got a letter introduction for you from the princes of Darrakan. You can be their representative.
At the auction.
Okay.
That their actual representative has been waylaid
Oh.
and won't be making the appointment.
Is this actual representative waylaid so that we can replace them, or are they really waylaid and unexpectedly elsewhere?
They have been waylaid so you can take their place and,
Okay.
and represent them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if they show up, you would be kicked out.
Yeah. That's what I was just checking, because
Yeah.
if they've been abducted or something, well then...
He has arranged it so that he can get someone into there, and he's got all the paperwork to say you're the official representative for the nation. He doesn't want you to actually buy the item, but if you can stop whoever's trying to get it and make the item disappear from sale, he would be very much appreciated, because he doesn't believe that with the way the world's going, a item called a Devastation Orb should be available to the highest bidder. He expects the Thyatan Empire to be able to throw more money than anyone else at it, even though Darrakan has more money than anyone else.
So,
Yeah.
while Redrian's saying this, Calcrix is looking over at you thoughtfully, and this idea of theft.
And
his,
the
skills you're
Well,
bringing to the party.
These two.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's true.
weapons of mass
That is true.
destruction generally aren't for sale.
Yeah.
Can I have they're uncommon,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't get the full benefit because I'm not an elf. Boots of elven kind and the cloak of elven kind.
Possibly, we'll have to have a check on that one, because there are some floating around already that the party may be able to just hand you.
Okay.
Because there are items that the party have, especially
We have spare ones.
the NPC Drazzle
Yeah.
has quite a few items
Mm.
that he collects from the bodies of dead adventurers.
Yes. That's a very good point. He has a bunch. We'll
I
have a look through his list first.
just like the fact that the cloak and the boots count as one achievement for both.
It's handy.
Some of the items also have other bonuses as well that will come to light later. I don't detail everything on the
Oh,
blog.
no,
It's just so you know that there are things that will appear as you go. You also cannot stick an extra dimensional space in an extra dimensional space.
Pretty standard.
No, the other thing
Yeah.
is, the standard is they explode. So what I say is they just can't go into each other.
I like magnets.
That they it's the equivalent of I've put it up against a wall. You cannot actually physically push them together, and you can't take extra dimensional spaces through teleportation effects like phase step normally.
Yeah. I've been practicing hard to make mine do it.
So the portologist secret craft specializes in that specific ability.
Right.
That's part of that, because their specialty is planar travel. Okay.
Martin,
Yep.
assuming that we're going to be in Darrakan for at least a couple of days before departing for the Devastation Orb, while Autolycus does some shopping and bits and pieces, Jack Dimmer would like to actually try and get at least some truest level information on the northern reaches.
Okay.
Just to understand what it is we're going to. The more detail you can find out, the better. But as a priest of knowledge, he's been sent out to find out more about the world, and it's a good way to start.
So what you've been able to gather from some of the people here that talk to you is it's a great place to get drunk and wind up on a ship.
Sounds like my kind of people.
You can insult someone, beat each other up, and then have a drink with them that night. Apparently, fighting, drinking, and sharing stories is their pastime. Not particularly in any order.
Yeah.
And some of the stories are about the fighting and the drinking, and some of the drinking's about the fighting and the stories, and some of the fighting's about the drinking and the stories.
Yep.
So it really is. It has some feeling of the Atruaghin area that you're from, except far more reliance on alcohol, less on totems, more on martial standing.
Yep. Now we mentioned there were 3 countries that make up the area.
Mm-hmm.
Are they cohesive countries in themselves, or are we talking loose affiliations of lots of different tribes or things like that in the case of the Atruaghin clan?
So what they're able to tell you is the Osland region are horrible, horrible pirates who will steal anything from you given a chance, including the clothes you're currently wearing while you're wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
That they're just really horrible people, which you get from most merchants.
They don't steal it off you, they just replace it with the Emperor's robes. That's far better.
They've just got this really bad reputation amongst merchants. Whereas any of the sailors and soldiers you speak to later talk of them as some of the best ocean sailors out there, because they have some of the worst ships in the world, yet they compete at the same level as some of the best ships.
Okay, yep.
So given the quality of ship, they could be the best sailors of the world.
Yep.
Just they're not particularly bright when it comes to making ships. They built it one way, so they keep building it that way.
That's right. They built it. It worked 1,000 years ago with that design. No reason to change it now.
Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Most of them go with their god of technology doesn't exist, so what they've got is all the god allows them to make.
Yep. Okay.
Very religious people, and most of them follow the god of knowledge, Odin,
Okay.
or the god of thunder, Thor. They're suspected of following the god of trickery, Loki, or the goddess of death, Hel.
Okay.
He has them.
So there are many other gods there, but those ones stick out amongst the major worshippers of them. Frey and Freya are well-known gods that support nature, also worshipped on the mainland, not on the islands.
Yep.
And besides the horrible pirate steal from everyone Osland people, who are actually a kingdom, you have the Kingdom of Vestland, which is the southernmost of the nations there, and they are very well cohesive and currently dealing with giant cities on their mountain ranges, as well as a kobold city, hobgoblin city, and gnoll cities.
Okay, so while we're there, potentially we could investigate the storm giants if we want to go there with the dragon.
Quite possibly. Though the dragon will get you in the doors of the Kobold City quite easily, because kobolds have a fascination with dragons, very much like gnomes have fascination with mechanical devices.
I'm
Yep.
happy to assist. I can even make myself look pretty and shimmery
Yeah.
and appear like a silver dragon, which should probably get us some bonus points.
Yes, but
Got to achieve.
there are times where even Calcrix can be hugged way too much.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Depends on whether or not I can get, like, sell more coffee or something like that.
Good for a druid.
Leaflet in everybody's pocket who hugs me.
We run out of leaflets pretty quickly.
That was Osland and Vestland.
Yep. And then there's the Sotterford Yaldums, which is a collection of hodgepodge mini nations forming one larger nation with no cohesion, rhyme, or reason. And each little settlement is their own nation.
So what kind of peoples are these? Are these humans?
Mainly humans, but you'll find various other races amongst them.
Okay.
And these are humans of extraordinary size.
Yep.
So
Not
these
giants, but
humans reach about 6 to 7 feet,
yeah,
which are giants amongst other humans.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
I was gonna say almost the
elfy
size of
type
elves.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was gonna say elf.
So that they basically get just to the how short most elves are, about how tall they get.
But
Does-
are they also pretty like beefy as well?
They are muscly and unusually pretty.
Do they have beards?
They do have, well, the males have the beards. The females generally don't have it, but they have the flowing white hair sort of look.
I sense your question's going in a particular direction, Blarney.
Well, I stand to ask, from a player perspective, are we thinking Vikings?
It's absolutely right.
It is absolutely Vikings.
Okay.
It is the Norse pantheon in that region.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which,
Okay. And this is the sort of stuff that I was thinking, that generic level information is all I was really looking for from Jack Nimmer's perspective.
And so that was why I was giving you the colour based on what people would really tell you.
yeah, it's good to know about the different, I guess, countries in that area. That
And
we
so
kind of know what would give us the best option of finding a quote-unquote auction.
So the Yaldum region, the Salford Yaldums, has problems with trolls, as does Vestland. Though the trolls apparently have adapted and are harder to stop than they have ever been in the past.
Interesting.
Fire does not work on all of them.
They've all got rings of fire with this looks now.
Let me just go put some Voltaren. No,
Okay, cool.
obviously continue.
It's all good.
Don't drop to be too
This is
long.
the kill steal series. If someone else kills the target, you go berserk.
It happened once.
Yes, it did.
And he actually killed the person who kill stalled.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you have heard a bunch about that. Did you want to dig in for any other information for any of you there?
I'm happy that was sort of the generic information I was looking for initially. If we get information on like any detail or things of where amongst that 3 locations, and from what we understand of them, is if one of them is more likely to be the site of an auction for a powerful magical artifact. But I'm also happy that that's probably not necessarily something we can narrow down at this stage. So.
Agreed. So, I think...
But we might find more rumours about it as we get closer.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But they sound exactly like my kind of people.
Yeah.
Well, unless they're the type of people that you keep, that your people keep competing against on the oceans.
We have to do some research.
It's
on
healthy
Salford
competition.
There's not much of a competition from the side of the Erendi, because the Erendi pretty much can sink anyone. It's just whether or not they come in numbers.
Yes.
There you go.
So if they
sorry, go on.
if they come in numbers, then the Erendi will actually field their fleet, and then no other nation will even come anywhere near them. They've never fielded their fleet.
Right.
They've only fielded single vessels to take out flotillas.
But on a one-on-one basis, there might be some friendly or not so friendly arguments on exactly who's the better sailor.
If there's 10-1 odds against you, you think the opposition might have a chance. That's the level of threat the Erendi Navy are.
Right.
I meant one-on-one individually, not necessarily ship one ship to one ship.
So one ship to one ship, they'll all play nice around you once they know where you're from. Okay, so news that you've managed to get from Redrian before you leave, after he's had some investigations into what a Devastation Orb is. He says it's an elemental bomb that affects a mile area from where you detonate it.
That sounds pretty devastating.
It is basically a it is an elemental nuke.
Yeah, we don't want, in this current climate, I don't think we want people getting their hands on that.
And he said that you will not be the only people going there looking for it. He's got wind of even Thar, the Orc chieftain, has sent agents.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal is to get it first.
Yeah.
Basically, you can wipe out most cities with it.
Most cities are only a mile big.
If you take out the source of water as well as commerce and food.
You don't have to destroy the whole city to destroy it as a city.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
You destroy the market. You even destroy the port. If you blow up a port.
Yeah, well, destroy the market. Chances are the market's near the river that goes through the city. You've now screwed up their water source and their markets. And
if you take out their temples at the same time, then you've pretty much hobbled the city.
And
completely,
there's a good chance there's a good number of their things. And if it's a mile across, if you get the markets, you're going to get the temples and probably the royal.
Though he does clarify it's a 1 mile radius.
That will cover pretty well every city on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because radius it's a mile from centre out.
And he does say that whoever sets it off, unless they can teleport, will not get out of its range in time.
Yeah.
Because it's got a D6 rounds from when you activate it till it explodes.
Yeah.
You run really fast?
It's really fast.
Teleport. Yeah.
Even my hardcore parkour monk could not get that far.
I could do it using Dimension Door multiple times.
The problem is though, if you roll a 1, you set it off as your action. If you
And he says its activation, what he's discovered is opening it up to the air activates it. Whatever container it is in keeps it in suspension until it's opened.
Right, so no checking to see what colour it is.
So if they were to say put it in the middle of a marketplace and walk away and someone what's this and opened it, they would set it off.
Yeah, which is how you get out of the radius.
So it is very much a terrorist weapon.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely think
put it
we
this way.
need to,
Darrakan is pretty well the biggest city around, or one of the top 3.
Until you get to Thyata City or the centre of Alphatia.
And a 2 mile circle will remove
any one of those.
90% of the population.
How big is the city which has the entire air fleet gathering around it?
That's probably the biggest city of the world.
Yes.
It's also one of the oldest cities of the world.
And if you take out the middle 2 miles of that city, it's not a city anymore. It's a bunch of refugees.
And potentially, depending on how the airships are, you take out a fair few of those as well.
Oh, you'll take out a couple of thousand of the airships as well.
So I feel that maybe to endeavour to help world peace, we have to get this item.
We have to do something about it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's doable. If they're too high level for us to actually face, then Redrum will get some chunkier people.
He also recommends you not teleport, phase step, or portal the item because that will instantly detonate it.
Oh.
Including extra dimensional?
Yep.
That's
Okay. Because I was thinking you bring it in an extra dimensional bag and then at least it's not exposed to air if it goes off.
Yes, but yeah, no.
I can imagine Reggie looking directly at Luel and being like,
well, I'm the one carrying a extra dimensional bag.
As is Dracnomir.
And I use Dimension Door and Face Stab.
Depending on where the auction is, we could potentially use acid to sort of set time delay, get the hell out there and let it blow up the auction.
But it'll most likely take out the city it's in as well.
That's the problem. Is that they're doing it in a city.
Oh, it'll be in a city.
If they're going to do it, they're going to do it in a place where you're going to have to kill innocents to set it off.
Yeah.
Do we have any mages or anyone who can do some research to see if there's a way of disabling permanently the item?
He says there's no way to disable it. Once it's created, it's on a countdown.
Yeah, you take it somewhere that isn't populated and set it off.
Yeah, the problem with that is you have to find some place where you're potentially not going to affect anything at all.
He says the worst part of a Devastation Orb is, from his research, is once created, it has a countdown.
Yeah.
And once it reaches that countdown, whether it's in a container or not, it goes off.
Oh, sorry. So there's time limit as well. Okay. But
And that time limit is random.
Yeah. You put it in an unoccupied airship and just have it fly like a mile up, mile and a quarter, and then have something open it up.
Where are we going to get the airship from? They're all over there.
Make one. Steal one.
Except there's none around anymore.
They're all gone. They all
it
flew
depends.
away
If-
into the
no,
most
no.
populated city.
If the Alphatian ambassador, if the Alphatian representative has turned up using one, we could use that. But that's a way to do it that gets it out of population.
Okay. Do you know how to fly an airship?
Nearly?
Some of them are use magic, some of them use science, and some of them use sailing.
And some of the known ones, they make it up as they go.
So if it uses sailing, you've got two sailors who potentially could make it
They can use ones that use the wind to as propulsion, because that's just rigging.
But the problem with that was it would require one of us, or at least one of us or two of us, to go with the
To actually be on
level.
it. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if me or Lani have the ability to teleport.
Or you just jump and hope for the best. You got people who can fly and use magic.
Yeah.
So jumping in and hoping for the
Lonnie
best means
could-
you got at least a dragon who can fly and catch you.
A quick purchase of Rings of
Exactly.
Featherfall.
Or we do know where there's a really, really, really deep hole.
Yes.
But how far away was the deep hole from where we're potentially going to be getting the...
Yeah.
The problem is
It's
we've
like
got,
a distance.
the problem is we've got to find something that's going to be an immediate solution. We've got to get it away from the city that it's in.
Give it to Moorcroft. From about 300 feet up.
Just be careful.
This
not
is for you,
to
sir.
be in the area of the tree.
A gift. Just for you.
Oh, it's just making
Actually,
sure we're
you
like
know
2
how
miles
big
from the feet in time.
the thing is, we can make a really ornate, fancy gift chest, deliver it to one of the vampire
So,
we
Paul,
suspect
from
of
your
the-
perspective, you're getting it over here
Yep.
from this point here. So we've got this little island chain here.
Yep.
That's the island nation.
Right.
The elves are over here.
Yes.
That's where the elven war is.
No, it's a long walk.
What's the scale there in terms of
So-
miles or kilometres?
Brun is...
Many miles.
Think
Chances
hold
are-
hold on. Think of going across the US
Okay, yep.
or
alright.
across Australia.
Yep, I just wanted some...
Yeah, it's Sydney to Perth.
Chances are it'd go off before we got there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, presumably, people who might be going to go and purchase or bid for this item are aware of the potential time limit.
He
no,
said most of them won't be because the information he's gotten isn't available on the market.
Okay.
Ah.
Because I was going to say,
So we
because
can-
I think
we
the
can
fact
use
yes,
that.
a lot of them would be thinking that, there's, or at least they would be expecting to use it at an appropriate time that wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily be a week after. they
So
purchase it.
the reason why he's asked you to get hold of it and get it out of reach of people is he's expecting a nation to buy it, take it to the capital city and put it in storage, expecting to use it as a last ditch effort,
Yes.
and then blow up their main city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas what's actually happening is it's being used as a weapon by the people selling it.
We might
Yeah.
need to investigate
So-
it. But
Oh yeah,
that's
we're
another
going
thing we're
to
gonna have to
find,
look at
find
too.
out
Yep.
who's doing it.
And from what he can gather, the sellers didn't make the item.
Is he giving any sort of vibe that this came from his ship?
He has no idea. It's not the sort of stuff his ship did.
Okay. Alright. Alright. That's good to know.
Destroying things is not what his people set about doing,
So,
but someone may have corrupted his technology to do so.
so it looks like our mission will be twofold. A, to secure the item and work out a way of safely disposing of it, and actually work out where they purloined it from, and if they're actually aware of, because that could mean there's another player involved.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely another player involved.
Of course, from a Garrican perspective, on that idea, it wouldn't necessarily be bad for the representatives of Thar to get hold of it and take it back to the Broken Lands and put it in safe storage.
Yep.
They don't think Thar would be the patient sort. He would most likely use it as soon as possible on the biggest human settlement he can reach.
I.e. the one he just bought it from.
Yeah. He's likely to just try to send representatives to set it off.
Right.
They'll probably be the fanatical sort who are happy to give their lives for the cause.
Or at least not have the rest of their family killed.
Well, yeah.
Or believe they can walk away from it because
Their gods will protect them.
Yeah.
And some people's gods will protect them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm suspecting we're going to have to steal it.
That's why you're here, right?
To assist with it. But we're still going to have a plan to get it away.
Don't worry, we won't hang you out to dry.
But sorry, in that research, then we didn't get any more information on which of the three countries of the Northern Reaches was likely to hold the auction at this stage.
He thinks it's going to most likely be in the Sodafed Yaldoms because of the lack of central leadership.
Right.
Because if they were banded under a single nation, it'd be unlikely that that nation would allow the item to go for sale once they got wind of it.
Yeah.
Where with the fighting yells between each other, there's a good chance that none of them are strong enough to take the orb by themselves, but strong enough to stand against any of the nations around them trying to take it by force.
Right.
Yep, I'm happy with that. That it was certainly something that I was thinking in a similar line myself.
So that's his idea, though it could quite easily be in Ostland or Vestland, but he doesn't suspect that.
His best guess has got a little bit more weight than other things. So this is information.
And the Yaldoms are going to be. We go past them first if we're heading up that way anyway.
So they are the southernmost one, yes.
So there's certainly a good place to start looking.
Sounds like we got our heading.
He does suspect that Castellian would be the most likely place to find it because of them being nations of pirate raiders. They're not really going to stick a item of significance near the water.
Yeah.
But I think that, like I say, from the boat, we'd still be looking to get to probably Soda Ford and
take the road in.
Get to Castellan from there if we need to.
So it basically sits between Yalarum and Sodaford.
Yeah.
It also means we can also get more information once we arrive at the port and have a better idea of where we're going to head from there.
And the reason he thinks it's there is that's not where the central governing for the Yaldoms is based. That's the major trade port. So if it went off there, it would cripple that entire eastern
But the major
seacoast.
trade port would be a good place for us to get more information.
The major trade port is best for information because that's where a lot of ships come in. But all the overland caravans go through the other city.
And we also may be able to spot our rivals for the item.
I mean, I guess so. I would agree that if we go by boat and we stop in at Codaford as the first point, but if we do think that Castellan is the actual end point, then that does actually bring the concept of a portal to Yalarum and then 2 weeks desert travel would take us almost directly to Castellan.
And you can also arrange for a ship to meet you at Sodafed just in case you want to go by boat, because you can contact the Orendi and get them to sort something out for you. considering you do have a one of their trusted sailors with you.
And again, it doesn't take more than technically more than an hour or so to actually get to Erendi, make that contact, and then still go straight to Yalarum. Well, via Delicate again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we have a portal to Erendi, should be easy enough. I can get us a ship anywhere.
Okay. Do we actually have a portal directly to Erendi?
You do now, yes.
We do. Okay. Yep.
He opened it up this game year.
Just this year.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, yeah, and I think it would probably be safer than going overland.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have to deal with pirates and that, but on a ship, there's
Also-
a lot more.
And there is an underwater war happening at the moment, and they don't play nice. I believe that from the Erendi people, Lani would know the Atruaghin are basically taking out anything going through their lands.
So the Erendi ships are fairly fast, aren't they?
They are fairly fast, but they're also fairly brutal. They are the best combatants on the top of the water.
So I think that might be our safest method of travelling with all the war and conflict, because going overland, because is the overland route affected by conflict?
Yalarum is one of the few places that hasn't been reporting conflict. But then again, the dragons have disappeared from the region, which is the Dragonborn were the biggest army in that area that had been noted of late, and they've gone.
So we've got to make the decision whether we're going to go by sea or by land.
I think the consensus is mostly sea.
Lands.
So if you go by sea, you also have to pass through the Tyranny contested territories, which has their entire fleet mobilized between where you are and where you want to get to.
Okay, we need to talk to someone about who's willing to go open sea and go around them.
Well,
Then you'd have to pass through Alphatian contested waters. Is the only way to go around them. So if I zoom the map out for you, so if you say that this little island here is where you want to get to, this entire section here is Theatin.
Oh.
This entire section here is Alphatian.
Yeah. Sorry, I was
So
looking
does
at
that
one of the other
mean-
maps that shows Thassia as being rather smaller.
This jungle coast area here is part of the Theatin Empire.
Okay.
So they go all the way down to the bottom there.
But with the water, though, we know what the threats are and what the issues are.
This island down here is the dividing zone. This big island here called the Isle of Dawn. Everything on one side of it belongs to Theatis. Everything on the other side belongs to Alphatia.
My concern with the overland route is, well, there's no reports of conflict, but the dragons missing. We don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, and there's
The dragon amongst you knows that they have been recalled by their gods.
So yeah,
to
two
keep them out of the
things.
way.
Jeremy was going to say something, and I was interested in what he was going to say. And I am a dragon, so we do have some kind of connections there.
So what did you want to say, Jeremy?
Well, it's just a quick question. We've talked about the fact that it's going to be 2 weeks overland to get from Yalarum to effectively Castellum.
Yep.
If we travelled by boat the most direct route, we didn't worry about any hazard on the way.
You'd probably be looking at about 1 to 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so overland is...
Yeah, overland not that bad then.
And as Martin said, even though we'll probably get to Yalarum through the portal before I could contact my contacts, potentially I do still have contacts there, because even though I've been here for a few months, up until those few months I was in that area for a fair amount of time. And I made a lot of friends.
And we might even see a lake with the mysterious tower whenever it suddenly appear.
Yes, yes.
What, you hit that up on the way through?
Yeah.
Possibly on the way back.
Yeah.
I know. We'll take the Devastation Orb, put it in the tower, wait for it to disappear again.
Yep. Yep.
And hey, if it went off in a desert that's already been destroyed by conflict, it would then not impact the rest of the world.
Because the history of
is
Yalarum
another-
was that it used to be full of water and greenery, and now
It was one of the most fertile regions of the world.
So,
in the middle of the desert.
if you're familiar
Yeah.
with Star Wars at
That's what I
all,
was
think
thinking.
Tatooine.
Yeah.
And the area is so cursed that no one knows the civilization that wiped it out. The guys have ripped that from everyone's memory.
That's actually sounded like a really good option for getting rid of the Devastation Orb.
Yeah.
Although, actually, just
Martin mentioned it for a reason.
Martin's use of the word curse there reminded me. Is it something? And as a player, I'm remembering there was issues with going to Yalarum for at least one of the characters. But I think that was actually Dimitri's party.
Most characters have some issues, just that on the interesting side, Llewell isn't quite sure if the curse is going to affect him based on the fact that it was Oltec knowledge, not Nithian knowledge, even though it did talk about the Nithian culture.
Yes.
So it's very subjective, and the gods be crazy because it may or may not affect him.
Yes.
No,
This
that
is
was
the
it.
thing.
Was the fact that, as a player, I could remember, and it was the fact that we lose all knowledge of Nithia, which was something that Dimitri certainly didn't want to have be affected. So
Yeah, the problem is the two gods that I could ask about it are likely to go, oh, you know that. No, you don't.
But does this party know much about Nithia?
Llewell knows more about it than anyone else in the party. Praedir, when he was Praedir, had come across the writings but couldn't read it.
Yeah, that's right.
But they were the writings of his ancient people they'd forgotten that language.
Yes.
That's right.
It was the people who had built Atruaghin's palace.
Yeah. Well, so certainly Dracdima would be leaning towards going via Yalarum.
Only gods we don't care about offending.
Well, there's 180 to pick from.
Yes, but how many of them look
At least
after open deserts?
4 I know of in the area.
The god Al-Qadim is the patron of that
We
nation.
don't have any paladins in this group, do we?
No.
Not anymore.
That would have been handy.
Why?
What, blow him up?
In Yalarum, paladins must all be gods.
Yeah, paladins are the most sacred people of that region.
Yeah.
A paladin is automatically in the right no matter what the circumstance.
Oh,
It
fun.
opens up a lot of doors.
And
for paladins.
anyone traveling with a paladin, even if they're a spellcaster, are treated as an honoured citizen.
Right, so what's your deception like? Can you fake that?
I was going to say, what Dolocus is buying is a foot plate.
I was going to say, we just really need to pull together and stick one of us
So
with really good armour.
the Holy Warrior is the most sacred tradition of those people.
But
Deception
just to
is one
make
of my
sure, you make
favourite
sure they've got a
skills.
spell that means anytime anyone looks at them, the word paladin booms through their head.
Truth seers are also one of the major beliefs.
So, yeah.
True seers?
Yeah, people who can tell when someone's lying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's basically
How do you qualify for that? Is that like an innate ability?
it's part of their
People?
traditions.
Yeah.
So, like the secret crafts, it's one of part of in there.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really nice to know. That's nifty.
That is their cultural belief is truth seeing. So when
Yeah.
someone tells a story and they lie, that's basically bad.
Well, it depends. If they're telling the story to tell the story and the story's not supposed to be real, well then yes. But
Yes,
if they're
I know,
telling
but-
the story,
I know, but if you're doing
yeah.
if you're doing that, you actually introduce it as this is a story
Yeah.
that is not true.
And their stories in their country are all about the truth.
Oh, okay. So you can't even tell like a fictional story.
You would not be taken well, so you would not get any kudos for
Yes.
telling a story that has a lie in it.
They'd be happy to hear proper folklore or legend. Okay, cool.
And they honour true stories.
Yep.
That's why they have true seers.
Uh,
And most paladins
That's
are trained
something
in
that-
true seeing.
I think that's one of the things that'd be handy to know, that if we encounter a situation.
Which is why I'm saying this now
Yeah.
before you get there, so you know that there is a big thing there. They are most against anyone who uses fire. So
I use lightning.
the
that's not counted.
the use of fire magic at all is a death sentence.
Unless you're a paladin.
No,
The paladin manages to get around to that death sentence. He's the only one who can get around that death sentence.
yeah,
But anyone else, even if you're a friend of the paladin, it's still a death sentence.
yes. Although a paladin using fire magic, the only way they do that is secret craft, and that would be illegal for them to learn.
If you've got a fire
so-
genasi who's a paladin.
We had a fire
Again,
genasi as a paladin.
I say this because when I was last in this
So-
area, I had a paladin.
So just so you know that
Party
that is
member.
something that they do talk about, as they also consider religious fanatics of Al-Qadim one of the new gods of water and time.
Yeah.
So the beliefs that they have is that the fire aspected people devastated the lands,
Yep.
and so anyone with the fire aspect is treated badly.
Like,
Right.
for example, a Sunfang.
No, Fire Genasi, well, Sunos.
Anyone with a fire aspect, no matter which one they
Sun Fire, yeah.
So considering you
I'm
can
not-
actually change your aspect, which is a nice thing of the storyline, and you can have multiple aspects, but they just don't like anything relating to fire.
Yeah.
Radiance is fine, fire is not.
We don't have any fire aspected people in this party, though, do we?
You do not, but they do honor water aspected people fairly well.
So would that be our two pirates?
One of your
Islanders?
pirates.
One of us
It'd be
might be
me and. Did we
Drazzle.
have somebody else?
Drazzle is also water aspected.
Yeah, but
Most
of the
Drazzle's not necessarily with us, I don't think, at the moment.
He came back with Drachnomir,
Yep.
but he's sort of been keeping to himself a lot.
Okay, so he's around, but he's not around. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says he will travel with you, but he has things he needs to do.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's not guaranteed.
Is Nari? Is she water aspect or is she?
She can change based on what she feels like when she
Season,
wakes up.
right?
Yeah, season.
Yeah, season phase,
Okay.
so she can switch it around.
Yeah, so,
So-
it might be worthwhile talking that over with her and seeing what she's willing to do.
Yeah. So next time she's able to join, making sure that she's not going into fire aspect.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
when we're in the area.
I'm pretty sure the one you don't want is summer.
Yeah.
That is correct.
I think spring might have a lot of water in it because of rains and things.
Winter's normally the...
But I was going to say
Or-
winter will be my best bet because it's white and blue colouring, so
Mhm.
that reminds me of water. So, yeah, anyway, I guess.
Okay. Other things he has to say is they're very big on ceremony and tradition, so making sure you treat their culture appropriately, and your female members of the party generally should stand behind the male members of the party, just so the patriarchy there doesn't consider you a threat.
Even dragons.
Just so I'm making sure I understand correctly, this is in Yarla
In
or is this in the
Yalarum.
northern region?
In the desert of Yalarum. The
Okay, cool, that's
Sotterford
what I mean.
Yeldums are a little more open. It's whoever has the strength to rule is all that matters. It doesn't matter anything else beyond that.
So if I crush those male
Okay.
people, I still can't rule on betting. Do they have any way to tell what gender I am?
Probably not.
So I can
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
tell
say
them I'm
as
a
a dragon.
boy and that would be fine? Because
I
I don't
don't
have
think
a
they
problem
did.
with that.
I suspect it's a dragon, it wouldn't matter anyway.
Well, Martin's like, even if I was a dragon, if I'm a female dragon, I'm expected to stand behind my teammates. I'm like, well, if they don't know that I'm a girl,
Yeah.
And Drazzle is problematic because he has no gender,
yeah,
Yes.
which really does confuse people who are gender focused.
yeah.
And the thing is, from most people's perspective, the dragon doesn't have a gender either.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and some elves will dress androgynously too.
Most elves, it's very hard to tell what gender it is even after they speak,
Mm.
because they all sound so musical.
Yes.
This could sometimes work to your advantage,
It can.
especially if you need to feed an axe beak.
As long as you're not feeding it yourself.
We can feed it to Drazzle, or Drazzle's horse.
At the axe beak?
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
The axe-beak's
Chocobo.
scared of the horse.
Yeah, Chocobo's been very well behaved since horses turned up.
My chocobo is called Spare Rations.
That's your Chocobo, but
Yes.
Emmy's axe beak is called Chocobo.
Right. Because it is a
Oh, I lost my
nutter.
glasses again.
Okay, so yes, you do see joining the party is about 7 foot tall dragonborn. You haven't seen much in the way of dragonborn. Most of them have been of a white or a black variety. This one has sort of a dull bluey sort of scales that sort of reflect every now and then. Mostly wearing what appears to be a robe until you realise it's his wings.
I was going to say, is that Dressel there?
There is Dressel sort of faded in the
there you
background
go.
there. And he has a cart that has a single seat on it, open top sort of thing with a wall on the back which has a big metal door on it.
Interesting.
Doesn't open into the cart. And there seems to be a lot of locks attached to the outside of it.
Probably to protect us, not to...
And
Yeah,
it's
it is
pulled
to protect
by
us.
a draft horse of unusual size. I think even the tallest elf could easily not touch the ground sitting on the horse.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out the acronym from rodents of unusual size to draft horse of unusual size.
And it has a feel around it of something you don't want to be next to.
That's fine. I don't like horses.
Though when you think that, it looks at you. But it's not looking at you out of the side of its head, it turns its whole head to look at you.
I was going to say, Calcrix hugs horse regularly though, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's used to that.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it. I've seen him without the illusion on.
Yeah, you have, haven't you?
Yeah, no one really discusses it because it's just called horse.
Yeah.
It's horse to remind people that that's what it looks like.
Yep.
Titus is more
Well,
at
it
home
keeps
on a
making me
boat
think of
stick
Foot
than
Yeah,
on
that's
a-
true.
He's not a big fan of riding. He's probably done a lot of it.
Alrighty.
Okay, though considering his colour, that would make you realise he is of the water aspect, because colour is important. You can tell anyone's aspect by the shades and colours of their person, hair, eyes, all that sort of thing.
I've got black eyes.
And so it's quite obvious that you have the dark aspect. And when you see creatures that have no aspect, most people freak out.
Yes.
Because that's as unnatural as you can get on this world.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Normally, if you have no aspect, someone's done that to you.
It's someone stolen it from you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the bad and same way.
You also can't have kids or use magic.
It's as if their life the spark of life has been taken from them.
Yes.
Because we
Because
did
it has.
encounter this when we went into a
Alternate France.
alternate dimension of World War I France, where all of a sudden there's no magic. What's up with that? So it was
And everything was
interesting to-
dull shades, and the party slowly faded into the dull shades while they were there.
Yeah.
and we
it
were
was-
just like, where's all the color?
Yeah, it was getting a bit
Scary.
thought there. It was a bit scary.
And food and all that was bland tasting. Nothing felt like it was
Ooh.
really live.
Doesn't sound like a really nice
And
place to
all
be.
the creatures were rammed up in horror.
The place,
So-
the whole planet was death aspected.
Okay, no, don't want to go there.
And it was ruled over by a single god, the Grim Reaper.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why it was death aspected.
So that's what happens when the elements go out of sync.
Yes. Yes. Orcus was considered a positive thing.
He was a positive influence in that world.
Yeah. We found a holy symbol of Orcus. Not an unholy symbol, a holy symbol. Of Orcus, the god of the dead.
I know who Orcus is.
And in most worlds, it's an unholy symbol, but there it become a holy symbol.
Yes. I think I've still got that.
You do,
Yeah, I do.
and it's still a holy symbol
That's really weird.
because the aspect that created it still keeps it.
Yes.
So are
Which
we all...
actually means he still exists. If it's still an actual holy symbol.
So yes, you've now so Lani, you travel over to Arendi to talk to the people there. There is the military academy of Arendi. There is the
Temple wants that, I reckon.
pirate enclave, as well as the merchant enclave. Is there anywhere in particular you wish to speak to get your vessel you're thinking of having sent?
I would likely.
Sent ahead? Yeah.
Lonnie did have some run-ins with the pirates, but she mostly worked with merchant ships.
Well, you do
So
know
I
that
was-
you do know that the pirates would have no trouble getting to the Eldams.
Yeah.
The merchant ships might not make it through the Theatan military.
Yeah.
And sending a warship through there is just going to be
An act of war.
probably not an act of war, but there might be lots of questions asked.
Okay. Well then I will try to talk to my pirate contacts and see if they can help us out.
Okay, so you meet with Blackbeard himself.
Oh my goodness.
Who is quite happy to catch up with you over a couple of beers at one of the local taverns. All you know this tavern quite clearly because none of the city guard will go anywhere near the tavern.
Very nice.
Because while the pirates are considered a nuisance to the rest of the world, the Erendi Navy actually allow the pirates to have their own base on the other side of the island. So whenever the Erendi Navy call to arms and request the assistance of ships, every pirate in the region comes to help them.
Wow.
It's kind of like NASA in that way. That's pretty cool.
And as such, the pirate ships don't sink or harass any Erendi ships anywhere, any of the pirates. It's one of their no-go zones.
Yeah,
I was
we've
going
got
to say,
the upper
sounds like a
supplier.
very...
And it's probably the only no-go zone for pirates, because pirates will sack other pirates, but they will not touch an Erendi ship.
And it's
very
part of
mutually
the
beneficial
code.
relationship.
Very good.
Harlow?
Very good.
Pirates are not romantic, they are.
But
bastards.
at the same thing, they can also get their ships repaired at any Erendi port.
Very nice. Okay, so I talked to Blackbeard. I'm just like, hey, great to see ya. Probably have a little bit of a drinking contest. How much rum can we get through? Why is the rum always gone? And so he'll help me with the ship to go to the northern reaches.
So you've travelled to Erendi from where we are in Darragon?
Darragon City, yes.
How far away?
Yeah,
In the
Okay.
portal.
portal.
So,
Oh,
using the
okay,
portal.
you've portaled over.
So to give you a location on the map, Darragon City is there.
Yep.
Erendi City is right on the fold there.
Is there any problem with Calcrits coming along?
Calcrits
Just to
could come along.
Have a look around, see if there's any...
So
Calcrits peoples?
Calcrits would see some of the probably best looking ships she's ever seen.
Oh, okay.
The equivalent of works of art on the ocean.
So I'll probably sketch some of those, but they'll look like stick figure boats. But, you know,
Because
Calcrits is right into recording these unusual things.
And you do see that probably about 2 or 3 of them in port openly fly the pirate flag.
So you should spend some time at a downtime learning artist tools.
Yes, I
Learn to
possibly
actually
should,
draw.
but... You know.
And so Blackbeard says he's got some friends in the region he can contact and have them there whenever you want. It should only take them about half a day to get to the city.
Oh, cool.
They are Norsemen, so they are a little rough around the edges, not as good on water as his ship, but far better than the local fare.
Very, very, very good then. I tell him, I look forward to showing them the Erendi way of sailing then.
Who won the rum contest, by the way?
Hold on. Let me roll something actually.
Calcrits and Chow sitting there drinking
Okay.
shots of water. Or coffee.
Let's see, if I just wanted to roll a d20, I got a 17.
You got a 17, he rolled a 9, and he doesn't look like he's tipsy at all. You think he actually runs on rum.
Nice.
That's funny. I like it.
You met on good terms.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he
And
does.
we get up there and drink. I'm out drinking him, but he's he's playing along and
Cruising.
playing coy, and I'm just like, I see you, Blackbeard, I see you, and then like respect, you know?
Double finger guns.
Yes, exactly.
And you have known from your dealings with the pirates that the pirate captains generally know where all the other pirate captains are of the world. They actually keep in contact.
How do they keep in contact? Is it like by bird, by some
Magic.
sort of magic message? Yeah.
Facebook group.
Basically, the Erendi gave the pirates
Twitter.
devices that allow them to communicate.
No, they communicate with birds and they call it the Twitter line.
It would be the sparrow line. Sparrows are associated with sailors, so.
Sparrows are us.
Crow's nest! That's it.
By crows.
Crow's nest.
I love it.
Though a lot of the pirate ships are also the one of the few known portable teleportation circles.
That's pretty cool.
Most teleportation circles are on fixed structures
That's
That's
only.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of their
pretty
network.
neat.
Will it bore you too much? Walk around a bit. My legs are
That's fine. You walk around a bit. We are after 10, so I'm just getting them to the point of actually having the adventure ready to kick off. But trying to get all the things sorted out before they get there. Okay, so it's okay. So yes, you've managed to sort that out with Blackbeard. He says he'll arrange it and he'll get a message to you in Castilian as to what ship he can arrange to be available for you.
Sounds interesting.
And any notes he can about the ship's captain.
Okay, cool. So, Blackbeard, well, Castilian, you said? Okay.
Yep. Though it will be it will be most likely at the Sotterford City, just not obvious.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
suppose
That is fine.
it'd be good, I suppose, to have an alternative getaway if we need to.
Always have a plan B, C, D, E,
Exactly.
F. Rest of the alphabet.
Or even just not have a plan at all and just wing it. No, but yeah, A, B, C, D, E.
Have the 26 plans and then discard them all when the first 4 go wrong and then wing it.
I run Shadowrun. I'm used to having the plan to solve the plan that goes wrong to solve the other plan that goes wrong.
That's the bit I liked about the trailer for the D&D movie. So you make plans. Why do we need you? In case the plan goes wrong. So you make plans that fail. Yeah.
I like that
That was a good line. I'm looking forward to it.
Whereas I was immediately thinking of the was it Mr. Freeze, Captain Freeze
Yeah.
in DC Legends of Tomorrow and in Arrow,
Yeah.
where he has the line of, "Yep, you got to make the plan, execute the plan, throw away the plan, go away."
Make a new plan.
Done.
But it's always good to have a start point,
Exactly.
Yep.
right? If you've ever played Blades in the Dark, that's pretty well how that happens.
Well,
You come up with something you want to do, and then you actually start playing through having already planned it and start the op, and then things screw up.
Our start point
Yep.
is basically we want to steal this item.
Yes.
Other things you picked up during that time while you're there is the Erendi Navy is starting to build up. And they have started cranking out more ships in the last year than they have almost in the time that they've been building ships.
This is getting bad.
The fact that these guys are doing such is causing concern to the islands nearby Minrathad, who are the merchant sailors.
Do I have time to look around the markets there?
You do. There is lots of fish, very little else.
I share with Calcrix my favorite fishy meal.
Calcrix enjoys that greatly. What are we having?
Fish.
So here's the thing: where player knowledge and character knowledge doesn't match up, Kesley does not eat fish. So
Oh, okay.
we're gonna go with a breaded mahi of some kind. Why
So
not?
Okay,
something
yep.
really nice. Yeah.
with a garnish of rosemary and lemon and creamed, I don't know, seaweed mash. I don't know what they.
So you have this nice little sit-down meal with some of the nicest fresh fish you've ever had.
Okay. Yep,
Right next to this dingy-looking magic shop called Bargle's Exports.
Ooh, can I go into the magic shop?
You can.
What's in there? Is there a proprietor?
There is a proprietor. He's got a big bushy black beard.
I step in and I say, I am Calcrix with the Jazz Wings, and I give him Jazz Wings.
He just looks at you and shrugs.
That's fine. What do they sell here?
He says, I sell many magical wonders. Do you have money?
I do have money.
How much money do you have?
That'll depend on what you've got.
Well, I'll only bring out stuff if you've got money. Show you've got money and I'll bring stuff out. I only deal to people who've got money.
I bring out a little bit of money.
Give me an insight roll.
You by yourself, or are we some of us do it?
Well, I think she went in by herself because...
No, did Lani follow me into the magic shop?
I'm gonna go and see
Yeah,
what's
do
there.
I happen
would've
to
followed
know
you
this
too.
proprietor?
yes, you do. He is known as the biggest swindler on the island.
So you said inside, didn't you?
And anything he sells has a likely chance of backfiring, burning, cursing, killing whoever actually buys stuff from him.
Or just evaporating.
That too.
14 plus
So
7.
he doesn't get a lot of
21.
repeat customers.
So he strikes you as the shiftiest, most horrible sort of person that you've ever come across, and even makes your scales want to stand up looking at him.
Well, in that case, I definitely don't produce any money. But I
And you see he's also eyeing off your little familiar
Chow Chow.
with that look of how much money can I make off that.
Yeah, Chow Chow might end up.
And you think he's also eyeing off your scales with how much money can I make off that too, because dragon parts make a lot of magical items.
Is
With
it-
him eyeing Calcrix a bit, I might step in between. I'm just like, hey!
Don't worry,
Yeah, no.
Calcrix is going to have a look around and go, well, it was very interesting to be here, and politely make her way back out.
Would this be the sort of person who might have the information we need?
You're welcome to deal with them. Calcrix is going
Yeah,
to take
not buy
Chow
something
Chow
from
and her scales away from the man who might try to make her part with either of them.
I must say, I expect that, and so Clacknimmer stayed in Darricum, because you've got to go back via that way anyway. But yes, I expect that it's probably good practice for the party that we haven't dealt with Keltrix before, but I don't think Keltrix should be left wandering by herself at any time.
No.
Not because concerned about her mental attributes in any way, shape, or form. Just the idea of a dragon wandering around towns. Probably bad.
What I
Sorry,
would
not
say at
Calcrix.
this point is
Oh,
that
well,
Drachmir
valuable.
has a 1000% qualified intuition about Calcrix being left alone anywhere.
Yes.
Okay, so
As I said, to me, it's more
Calcrix
just
will
the
need an
idea of
escort.
not
Yes,
having a
usually.
small dragon wandering around cities.
Preferably an adult escort,
so
because
Yeah.
she is 7 years old.
Yes.
well, one
And
thing.
preferably with she should wear a collar and have a lead. Just slightly held.
Just to make it look
Yeah,
like you're
that's
not.
Grindelwalfel running
Yeah, no.
around hanging on to my lead.
What are those,
But it's something to make you look like you're
monkey
not
backpacks
actually
with the
free
leashes?
to attack anyone.
Exactly.
So
It's just for period.
Just so you know.
GM speaking up here,
Yep.
trying to cut in.
Yep.
What our rogue of the party realizes is this is the local fence.
Yep.
So he
So he-
would probably have an idea.
Might have useful info.
While he's busy looking at chopping up our... Like
No. I've handed my lead to Chow Chow, and Chow Chow is on my horn and leading me out of the shop.
I'm going to have a quick look around to see if I can see like a ledger or potentially something that a fence might be keeping information that may be pertinent, so something I could maybe swipe.
He looks like a fairly high level fence. So looking around, everything here looks like a trap. Everything you look at, even the items on the shelves, look like a trap.
Low swipeability.
And you had that feeling of magic in the air as well while you're here. You have heard of Bargul also being the name of the advisor of the Black Eagle Baron.
Oh.
Also, keep in mind that if he fences high-level stuff, it could be that he knows about auctions, around the
That's
place.
what I was hoping
Someone
to see.
like-
I have a feeling that he may...
You may have to charm or something, I guess. What do you do
Or
with
bribe.
high-level?
Or bribe.
Oh, yeah, bribe, yeah. I was going to say, what's the thing you usually do with
It's
high-level...
actually exceed the colour of people's money, or
Yeah.
at least the amount thereof.
Yeah, that makes sense. Calcrix is not equipped. which is
The
why
problem
she left.
is, if we actually ask him or bribe him, chances are he will then sell the information on to the people who are having the auction. So that takes away our element of...
But then we're potentially going there as the authorised bidders from Darrakin City anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
You do. You've
Yeah.
got the paperwork to be the
Yeah.
authorised bidder.
So you could kind of play on that.
Yes.
Okay, let's try it.
He looks you up and down and goes, "Oh, you must be Trolicus.
Well, maybe.
Tattoos look right," he says.
So he's pretty well,
First.
yeah.
Where have you heard of me from?
Here and there, I've got friends.
I could use more friends.
I'm in the market for more friends.
I've had some friends from Theater City tell me about you.
Oh,
They miss you, by the way.
yes, I'm sure they do.
They miss you, or
but
do
they
they
did
miss-
say to send word that you got out about an hour before the authorities arrived to invite you to join their efforts.
Oh,
Love
well,
the
that was a...
And they congratulate you on your coup.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got out before they enlisted you.
Yeah.
They are quite happy you got out because they got out too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So you mean coup as in achievement, not
Yes.
as in
Yes.
overthrow a government?
Personal
Yeah.
coup.
It's interesting you mention my friends.
Hmm?
I've been trying to track some of my friends down recently, and apparently they were attending an auction nearby.
Nearby.
The auction's not nearby.
The nearby auction is looking at selling relics taken from the Dragon City. Considering the dragons have left it for the time being, and the Dragonborn that were protecting it seem to have disappeared.
Yeah, I was referring...
So there's quite a few artifacts up for sale in the Pirate City.
When I was saying nearby, I was referring more to generally the area. It's more of a high-level auction.
Well, I heard of something going off in the Jungle Coast where they had found some sort of technological relic that actually could translate anything anyone said. Plus, it would do some other weird stuff and occasionally kill people, but that's just a side effect you don't need to worry about.
Talk about magical balls that could keep things in stasis.
Using deception... I don't... What skill would I use to sort of get across? I'm trying to be subtle here without picking up. I'm trying to...
Persuasive?
You can use
Persuasion is
charms
the
or
charm,
persuasion. So persuasion can be, I want this information, but I'm trying...
Try to be discreet.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm trying to do. So I'm...
So I'll give you a persuasion roll using charisma for this
Yeah.
one.
How your character does it and how you do it are two different things.
Okay, so my persuasion is... Yay. Persuasion's not my strong suit.
Persuasion's what I'm for.
I was going to say, you can use my Daz Tower too if you need it.
No, that's...
Oh yeah, that works.
11.
He goes, "Oh, the Devastation Orb, why didn't you just say so?" If you hadn't got higher, it would have been less obvious.
Yeah, the thing is, my character's a liar, not a charmer.
Yeah.
So he goes, "Oh, the Devastation Orb, yes. You must be talking about that thing going off in Castellian."
Okay, can I make an insight check to see if he's bulldunging me or... Although my passive insight's good, but I'll actually make a roll.
I was going to say, if,
15.
15. He doesn't seem to be lying to you, but he does say the local Thieves Guild managed to get hold of one from someone. They don't know who because the person disappeared right after they stole the item.
Oh.
Is anybody else able to...
But considering it is quite expensive, he's advised the Erendi representative not to go.
Is he bluffing you?
Yeah,
it's not the sort of magic they play in. That they don't deal in weapons of mass destruction.
Do you know much about the sellers?
Not very good with magic.
Oh, you got the business dice out.
That was just annoying to crap out of me.
So,
There's a dice jar there. It works really well.
Yes.
So
Most of my dice end up in there in combat.
trying to go again.
So,
Not very good with magic. They are some of the best thieves outside of Yalarum that you'll find. Considering the Yalarum people have to deal with deserts, they've gotten very good at thievery. So if you ever find a Yalarum thief, make sure that you're touching your valuables at all times.
Well, actually, the idea is do not touch your valuables.
If you're not touching it, it won't be there anymore. That's how good they are.
I would say you keep at least a 3 meter distance between you and all.
Yes, it doesn't help.
With this auction, this item that they're selling,
Mm-hmm.
would you know more specifics of where it would be?
From what he's heard, they're keeping the item moving. So it's not supposed to be stored in one location, and that stops a lot of tracking magic.
They're probably also using some of the standard anti-magic stuff.
Yeah.
Anti-magic and magic may set it off.
Yeah, we're more talking lead line. Is it
You can use lead sheeting.
lead sheet,
in a box.
which blocks divination pretty effectively.
Yeah.
Not all divination, he says.
Not all, but yeah.
No.
There's a lot of divination that will bypass that.
Yes.
But only the hedge wizards need to worry about lead cheating.
Yes.
Hedge
But it
wizards, huh?
doesn't stop people doing things
Mean-
like scry on the people who are looking
There,
after.
there could be a financial boon to somebody who could point us in the right direction of finding the item.
He can write you a letter of introduction to the local Thieves Guild. But said that will cost you.
And how much would that cost?
How much you got?
Not
Well-
saying.
He's the sort of person who makes you put the offer out, and whether or not he
This
accepts
is where
it.
you lowball them
Oh yeah.
and
I
then
have,
you watch them.
Yeah, put down a sort of
This platinum piece, or whatever the equivalent of the Bitcoin is. What's the platinum worth again?
It's worth 10 gold.
Yeah,
10 gold
so
or 100 gold.
10 gold.
I
You
start-
can get magic platinum that's worth more.
using my sleight of hand, I start rolling the platinum piece along my fingers, along the knuckles.
Nice.
He looks at it and goes, I'm not sure I'd get out of bed for that. If that's all you're offering, you're not really serious about getting this thing.
He's bougie.
Put another couple down.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just rolled up one.
Okay.
So it's 2.
Yeah.
It just yawns.
I'm just trying to. My character would know sort of what level of money. I have an idea of how much.
You'd probably think he'd be looking at the equivalent of maybe 100 to 500 gold for this level of introduction, because he's putting his reputation on the line to introduce you.
So would that be 5 platinum?
That would be for it's 10 platinum to get 100.
It's a
Oh,
bag of
10
platinum,
platinum to get 100. Okay.
or possibly a nice gemstone.
Yes.
Okay.
What's
And having an introduction to the Thieves Guild is more likely to
Definitely
find the
worthwhile.
item quickly than
Alright. I'll.
Yeah.
So what was the low ball of that? It was about 100.
it was about 100. Yeah.
I had number 8 platinum to the pile.
Okay, now you get to make a persuasion check.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get the persuasion check until you got to 100.
Yes. So yeah, platinum is 10. It's astral
Would
diamonds.
one of my colleagues be able to
100.
aid me?
At this stage, no, because he's talking thief to thief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moment
Okay,
anyone else
so
steps up, he would clam up.
Actually, they're 100 platinum.
100 platinum is what? Sorry?
One astral
Diamond.
diamond.
Yes.
Sorry.
What'd you get?
9.
9? Okay.
Oh, do it.
You did get here early enough, so you can re-roll and take the best of the two rolls.
Or just keep adding coins.
Yeah, well, 12.
12. He looks at your offer and he goes, that might keep me happy for a day or so. You see, sort of making his fingers move a little bit.
Getting out the serious
Indicates
dice.
some more cash.
I'm actually going to get out my proper dice. I hadn't put out proper dice for the whole. Okay.
Someone needs
I
business.
push forward another 50 gold.
Okay. So this time you get a +1 to your roll.
Box.
Ooh. See, if I could use deception, that'd be better, but as I said, my character's a liar, not a charmer.
Deception wouldn't work on him at this stage. Because he's literally wanting a reason to actually
Oh, that's
help you.
better. 19.
Yeah.
Okay, so after doing all that, he ums and ahs a bit. He takes the money, and then you see him reach into the air and pull out a scroll, and then from somewhere else pull out a pen and some wax and start writing a letter of introduction for you.
Nice.
Cool.
It cost me 150. Where's my book?
It'll be
Yeah.
worth everything.
You'll get
Yeah.
you'll get reimbursed. We should actually have a sort of
Well,
group fund.
that's what the Ridrian 10,000 gold is for, is to pay for all your expenses.
Yeah.
And so you now have a scroll from Bargle, the Lesser.
The lesser.
Yeah, his cousin is Bargle the Greater. They're both called Bargle. And this one is the nicer of the two.
Oh, I was going to say, and that's Vargle Jr. that you can hear. Is it Vargle? Or
Bargle.
Bargle.
You'll actually find Bargle
Jr.
in the red box set
See,
as the solo play storyline.
The original solo intro enemy.
Okay.
You're Vargle Jr.?
So yes, you now have yourself a letter of introduction written by Bargle.
Hopefully it'll be worth the money I paid.
Being one of the major fences of the island, based in the capital city of
You want
Erendi,
your share?
he's got a lot of pull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so chances are it's going to be good.
Vargle Jr. wants
But
his
he probably
share
also
as well.
has a reputation as someone who would sell such an introduction.
Not
Yeah.
to a non-thief. No matter how much money you have, unless you're a rogue, you don't even get a hint of that side of his business.
Yeah.
Everyone else thinks of him as a dodgy salesman.
Because remember, he's introduced you to the local thieves guild. So, it's his
Well-
reputation.
Well, the thing is, it's valid. He is a dodgy salesman.
Mhm.
He's just also this other stuff.
Basically, he is the fence for all the local thieves. Especially the fact that most of them are pirates, and all the pirates will come here to offload gear that they can't offload elsewhere.
Yeah.
I've got to remember too that they're all 7 or lower on an inside check. It becomes an 8.
That's not bad. So yes, you wind up with your introduction, and you manage
Not
to
bad fun.
head off before you find yourself obliged to do something for him,
Yes.
because that could also have been applied to you as well as an obligation on top of the letter of introduction.
Yeah.
Which I got out of, think. Gosh.
But you sort of have a feeling that he's just happy you got out of Thyatus, as in the Brotherhood of Thieves sort of aspect.
And I suppose it's useful having a friend such as him in
It's the sort of
He's a good
person
contact.
you can talk to about stuff that none of the other party members have access to.
I thought we had another rogue, or not a proper rogue.
The Jeremy's character, being the rogue who catches thieves, would
Ah.
not be able to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
I've got an ability that means that, yes, I can easily find local watch houses and or criminal dens.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily get the same reaction if I walk into the criminal den as I would in the local Watchhouse.
Yes, if you'd speak to you'd speak to Bargle, and he'd go, "I smell a cop."
Bargle would just pretend as if he's selling you magical items that are dodgy, and go, "I didn't know they were dodgy, sir. My apologies. I'll have to reprimand the maker."
Are you a member of the Watch? You have to tell me if you are.
I have. Yes. I smell a cop. I'm not giving you any information.
And he's been operating out of this place for more than 15 years, so...
So he's damn good at what he does.
Well, he knows his things.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Martin,
Yep.
while we're down Narengi doing a bit of wander around, Jack Nimmo will be spending the day in Darrakan, basically gathering little supplies for 2 weeks travel through the desert for the party.
Okay, you get most of the gear you need, considering there is many Alassian merchants here who are based out of Yalarum, able to give you tips on desert travel and things to look out for. Including their biggest warning is avoid the obelisks.
Okay.
They are cursed places.
Obelisks.
Does that involve not going between them? All the obelisks are normally singular.
Obelisks in the desert are to be avoided. The ones in the towns, by tradition, you pass through before entering town. Pass between.
Yeah.
But the main obelisks there are closer to Selenica, and don't actually... most of them don't sit on the road north.
Okay, cool.
It depends on the village where you go to.
Yeah.
And the Thieves Guild I've been introduced to is in this town or is it another town?
It is in Castilian. It's where you got the letter of introduction for. It's where you're going to look for the...
okay, so it's not this town, it's the one we're going to. Okay.
Which is where it was useful for you to find out about the Devastation Orb, because he is the local contact for the Thieves Guild here.
Which is why coming here first was probably a good idea.
Good idea, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it does mean that when you walk in with an introduction, you're from one country with an introduction from another country, they're not just going to shoot you on sight or try to sell you back to the country you came from.
Yeah,
These both sound like handy things.
Yes. So, from a Theatin perspective, you think of the Norsemen as angry barbarians who fight well. Berserkers are a common thing amongst their traditions. And you've seen their like on the sea a lot. They are the most fearless sailors you've ever seen. Their boats are absolute crap and they'll fly them into storms.
Yeah, but
And get out of it.
Yeah, they'll get out the other side too with a few less sailors, but they still make it.
and some of those raging guys with the storms bouncing around them.
And some will take the storm with them.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, storm clerics on board.
They're also big on the Stormblight sorcerers too, aren't they?
They're very much about the weather.
And I think all the like when you take the storm, but they take the sea one. I think it is.
They will take a lot of. They are very attuned to the water, the land, and probably say air as well, because lightning is high in their traditions.
And they're No,
They are air focused people.
Yeah.
They are descendants of the air folk.
So these are the...
They're Norse people.
Yes.
From a dragon perspective, there's not a lot of dragon civilization there.
No, but I am air. I have air and lightning.
And you have heard from the other dragons that most of them have pulled out of the region, not by choice.
Have they said why? Is it something that I know that I don't tell anyone else?
They were told by their gods to withdraw.
So I might pray to my god later and ask them more about it.
They also say the gods won't tell them why.
Doesn't mean I won't talk to my god anyway.
Well, yeah.
Me and my god have nightly chats.
You could sweet talk them in. Where other people wouldn't get the info.
Yep. My god has changed genders and races on people because I asked them
for a
to
favour.
Help a disabled, depressed polar bear. So, you know.
That's fair enough.
Yes,
polar bear?
It was the familiar of one of the players until he changed race and sex, and then the polar bear didn't know who he was because it was not the same person anymore. And so he was very depressed and was eating himself to death.
So Calcrix prayed to her god, and her god went, okay, and changed said person back to the way they were. They didn't ask for it, probably didn't want it, but that's how things turned out.
Yeah, it would have been a bit rude if they'd gone, but I'm a different gender, I'm fine with this. And then you force them back, and they go, I just got a new wardrobe.
Well, he just got his original body back.
Yeah.
After many changes. I think he's gone through about 5 changes till that
I
point.
think this was like the third god involved in a not quite voluntary
in less than a week.
Change.
Ow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, guys,
Yep.
So-
I guess you're going to enjoy
Yep.
All good.
getting out.
So we will
Yeah,
call it for a
sorry.
night there with you getting all the info you wanted from there, picking up a whole bunch of stuff from the Yalarum friends in Darrakan City. And next session we will see what happens when you arrive in Yalarum. Because there's a lot of interesting stuff happening there at the moment.
But definitely looking forward to it. I have to say, from a character perspective, this is really exciting. From a player perspective, I saw where the story was pulled from, and we tried playing this campaign, and we had a TPK, so I've always wanted to go back and try it.
Right.
So, because we didn't get that far, so I'm so excited to actually
That
give
is
it a
where that
go.
part of the story comes from.
Oh,
Yeah.
But all the storylines are happening at the same time. So the dragons are currently dealing with Tyranny of Dragons.
Yeah.
okay.
So they're busy.
So the Storm's King Thunder is where all the giants are.
Which is probably why I'm not.
So we'll see you later, Jeremy.
I'm too young to.
Have a good night, all. Thanks very much. I'll
Well,
catch
yes,
you
we're
tomorrow night.
calling it in.
It will be Shadowrun tomorrow night, having a few players unavailable for D&D.
So Shadowrun tomorrow? Okay.
Have a good night, all. Thanks very much.
Good
nice
night.
to meet you, Kev.
Have a good night.
Catch you in a couple of weeks' time, or see ya.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Yeah.
See ya. I'll see you later as well, Kesley.
Yep, we'll see you later. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Excited to start playing with you.
Yes.
You.
Alright,
Bye.
bye.